Chapter 1390. It was Rick's first time in a relationship, so he didn't know how to coax her or what to give her. Last time, he gave Cece a bank card with 1,000,000 yuan in it. Cece threw it at his face. Not all women like to throw money at her. But Rick didn't understand these things. He just thought that having money was a lot more convenient, so he could buy whatever he wanted. You mean, you want to give her something sincere that can move her, right? Huamian began to understand what he meant. Rick nodded solemnly, looking at Huamian with an innocent look in his eyes. It seemed like Huamian had hit the nail on the head. I think you can do something that you've never done before, Huamian suggested. Like cooking something. She'll be moved. Think about it, you're going out for the first time in your life, how could she not be moved? But you need to do your homework and see what she likes to eat. This is called catering to her tastes. Rick nodded thoughtfully after hearing this. Okay, I'll listen to you. Thank you, Huamian. You're welcome. If you run into any trouble while Chin Chu isn't in the city, or if you need help with anything, just leave it to me. Rick reminded her. Okay. Then you should go back. I see that your client is still in the private room. Oh, yeah, I'm going back. Huamian just remembered that President Liu and his wife were still in the private room. After chatting with Rick, she went straight back to the private room. She drank some wine with President Liu and his wife and sang a few songs to keep them company before ending her trip for the night. She wanted to go to the hospital to see her father-in-law, but she was too dizzy. Bella sat in the driver's seat. A young lady, I'll drive you home first. Okay. Just as the car was about to start, an average-looking man of average height walked over. He approached the car and said to Huamian, who was sitting in the passenger seat, President Su asked me to give this to you. Then, before Huamian could say anything, the man left. Huamian picked up the bottle and looked at it. It was a bottle of calming drink. This kind of drink had not been sold on the market yet. It was said that it was privately developed by the Su family bank and was not announced to the public. It was filled with precious Chinese medicine for calming the nerves and sobering up. The raw materials were expensive. What a good thing to have in the rich circle, Huamian was very touched. Su Yu, who looked so big on the surface, actually had such a meticulous side. She unscrewed the cap and took 2 big gulps before leaning back in her seat. Bella, drive. Yes, a young lady. Bella thought that a young lady had brought her along to be a translator or a drinker. After all, the leaders of many large companies did this and let their subordinates do these things. However, Huamian didn't do that. She did everything by herself. It was only when she came back that she was too drunk to drive. Actually, she wanted to find a designated driver, but Bella was worried, so she insisted on driving her back. Bella suddenly realized that the young madam's character was really good. She didn't put on airs just because she was the wife of a corporation. She also didn't treat her employees like they were important. Relatively speaking, she was like President Qin. She would give people the basic respect and trust. Bella pressed a button in the car, and music started playing. It was Huamian's favorite song, Hotel California. Listening to this song in this kind of night made her feel very happy. Bella glanced at a young lady. She closed her eyes gently like a child. Although she wasn't the kind of beauty that could cause the fall of a city, she was very pleasing to the eye. The more Bella looked at her, the more she liked her. Bella thought that President Qin had a good wife. Every time something happened at the company, a young lady would come back immediately to deal with it. She put down everything she was doing and worked so hard because she loved her husband very much, right? The next morning, Huamian went to the company early in the morning. She originally planned to hold a press conference at 9 o'clock. She was going to explain the forced demolition scandal in T-City. This was also the result of her discussion with Chin Chu last night. However, just as she was about to go to the hotel, she suddenly received a call from her assistant, Yang. A young lady, President Qin said that the press conference is cancelled. Why? Huamin froze. Jiang Linyue was found dead in her apartment 15 minutes ago. President Qin was just taken away by the T-City police. The case still needs further investigation. What? Huamin felt like he was struck by lightning. Jiang Linyue was dead. Qin Chu was taken away for investigation. Could it be that Jiang Linyue's death had something to do with Qin Chu? Chapter 1391. How did she die? Huamin wasn't prepared for this at all. No matter how much he hated Jiang Linyue, he never thought that she would die so soon. The fear of impending death slowly spread from the depths of his heart. Huamin felt like T-City was extremely unsafe. Because Qin Chu's opponent was a devil who could kill without blinking. The death of the family of 5 during the forced demolition could be considered an accident. Then Jiang Linyue's death was premeditated murder, and the motive was obvious: a young lady. Don't worry. President Qin is still at the police station and I have to go with him. I'll tell you the details when he comes back. Okay then, you must keep in touch with me. Huamin was panicking. T-City police station. When Assistant Yang arrived, Qin Chu had just begun to record his statement. Because of his special status and his status as a VIP, he wasn't locked up in a small dark room for interrogation. Mr. Qin, where were you last night from 1 to 3 in the morning? I was resting at the Marriott Hotel. With who? My assistant, Mr. Yang. You didn't leave the hotel? The police officer asked. No. How can you prove that? The hotel has surveillance cameras. If you went out, you would be able to see the front and back doors. You can look at the surveillance footage yourself. The victim, Jiang Linyue, died in her own apartment. She had been dead for a long time when we found her. After a forensic examination, she died between 1 and 3 in the morning. The cause of death was due to external interference and suffocation. We searched the scene but couldn't find any clues related to her death. We also investigated her interpersonal relationships and found that she was an employee of your company. Yes, she's the manager of my branch company. Qin Chu nodded. That's not important. What's important is that the last message she sent before she died was to you. I didn't receive it. Qin Chu was slightly startled after hearing what the police officer said. He really didn't receive any messages from Jiang Linyue, so he was quite shocked when he heard that she died. The police took out the evidence. It was a mobile phone wrapped in a plastic bag. She edited her message, but she didn't have time to send it. She didn't write a complete message either. She only wrote at CEO Qin. We're guessing that she had something to tell you. What did she say? Qin Chu was curious. Only 3 words, President Qin, I. We don't know what she's going to say next. Could it be that the murderer deliberately left it behind to mislead you? Qin Chu asked calmly. We don't rule out this possibility, but so far, only the deceased's own fingerprints were found on the phone, so we can't be sure yet. The evidence will be sent to the laboratory tonight to continue to check for dandruff. Oh. Qin Chu nodded thoughtfully. Have you noticed anything unusual with this employee recently? The police officer asked again. She betrayed the company. To be exact, she betrayed the company and took away the company's secrets. Then, she publicized the evidence and slandered the company and myself. It has a very bad influence on me. I've been trying to contact her, but I haven't heard from her. That means there was a conflict between the two of you, right? Yes. Qin Chu nodded. So, we have reason to suspect that you had a motive to kill her. Before Qin Chu could say anything, Yang went crazy. He glared at the police officer and asked, "What nonsense are you talking about? President Qin was with me at the hotel last night. How could he have time to commit the crime?" Chapter 1392. But he could have ordered someone else to do it. He didn't have to do it himself. "Watch what you're saying. How dare you accuse President Qin?" Assistant Yang was furious for the first time. He thought to himself, are the police in T-City stupid? How dare they suspect President Qin? Qin Chu tugged on Assistant Yang's shirt. "Sit down, don't be so impatient." "President Qin, but I told you to sit down." Seeing that the president was furious, Assistant Yang had no choice but to sit down quietly. "I understand that you have reasons to be suspicious. I will do my best to help you collect evidence. Please solve the case as soon as possible. I don't want my employee to die. After all, I still have a lot of things to ask her. Now that she's gone, I'm very troubled." "Okay, we've already classified this murder case as a top priority. We'll solve it as soon as possible." Although the police had a motive, they didn't have the right to detain Qin Chu. Therefore, Qin Chu could still go back to his own business and sleep at the hotel. However, his identity was sensitive and he couldn't leave T-City for the time being. Things were getting messier and messier. That night, an article was published somewhere. The title was "The head of GK's branch was killed. GK's young president is deeply involved in a murder case." The article was very detailed. Jiang Linyue was being investigated by the company because she knew too many secrets. In the end, she died mysteriously, and the murderer claimed that Qin Chu ordered someone to do it. The article caused another uproar as soon as it was published. All the major media outlets tried to republish it, and more people tried to smear Qin Chu's reputation. Things were getting out of hand. At 8:00 in the evening, Qin Chu returned to the hotel after a busy day. As soon as he walked in, he video-called Huamin. "Honey." After seeing Qin Chu's face, Huamin finally felt a lot more at ease. "Honey, I'm fine, don't worry." He was always so calm, as if he was shouldering everything by himself. "How did Jiang Linyue die?" "Suffocation." "Suffocation." Huamin was a little surprised. "Yes, she was suffocated by external interference. Because there is no direct evidence, the police have not given a specific result, but according to my guess, she should have been suffocated with something like a pillow or handkerchief." "That's terrifying. I have a feeling that person killed Jiang Linyue to frame you and ruin your reputation." "I think so too." Qin Chu raised the corner of his mouth slightly. "How can you still laugh?" Huamin looked at Qin Chu with some resentment. "When I see you, I don't think about anything anymore, really." Qin Chu had been in a bad mood for the past few days. However, no matter how bad her mood was, she would try her best to maintain her best state when she was video chatting with Huamin. He never wanted the woman he loved to worry about him. "Honey, when are you coming back? I miss you so much." Huamin looked at Qin Chu's thin face and felt sorry for him. "Soon. I'll go back as soon as I'm done here." "Did you read the article that was published last night?" "Don't worry about it, someone is trying to make a big deal out of it." "Should we explain?" "No, the more you explain, the worse it will get. Time will tell." "Honey, you have to be careful. Now that Jiang Linyue is dead, I feel like those people are really cruel and merciless. Killing someone is as easy as killing a cat or a dog. It's too bloody and cruel. I'm really worried about you." Huamin repeatedly reminded Qin Chu to be careful, feeling very uneasy. Chapter 1393. "I know, I'll be fine. Don't worry. Then come back as soon as possible." Huamin pouted. Yes, I will. Before hanging up, Min reluctantly reached out her hand and gently stroked Chin Chu's handsome face on the screen. She really wanted to hug him. She really wanted to stick to his chest and act coquettishly. But now, they were 2 cities away. After hanging up, Min didn't feel sleepy at all. After chatting with Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling on WeChat for a while, she posted on her WeChat friend circle and Weibo. Good and evil will be rewarded. Those greedy people will be judged by the heavens. Jixin, sis, what happened? Min replied to Jixin, it's nothing. Go to school. Zhu Lingling, God is watching over us. Some people just want to die. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, give me a hug. Everything will pass. Chen Jia, Chief, it's okay. I'm sure nothing can stop you. Ni Yang, sis, take care of yourself. We'll always support you. Gao Ran, those greedy people won't have a good ending. Let's wait and see. The comments on Weibo were also very lively. Some were good, some were bad. In less than half an hour, there were more than 10,000 comments. Dr. Hua, you've been in a bad mood lately. Dr. Hua, I went to check in with you yesterday. You said you were on vacation. When will you be back? Mian, good luck. I believe you're the best. Didn't you say your husband killed someone? Was it true or not? Did your husband have an affair with that woman? Then, he killed her because he didn't want anyone to find out. That's what the rumors say. If your husband really did kill her, then you guys are the ones who are asking for it. I heard that GK's stock market has been plummeting. Should I buy more at a low price? I'm just a passerby. I don't know the truth, so I'm just waiting for the truth to come out. I have a feeling that someone is trying to smear GK's reputation. Min didn't sleep well the entire night. She stared at the dark circles under her eyes, opened the email on her phone overnight, and looked at the company's official business seriously. At this juncture, if her husband wasn't here, she would be looked down upon even more if she couldn't hold on. Min made a cup of coffee and forced himself to stay awake. He began to plan his itinerary for tomorrow. Inside Hua Xiqian's mansion, Song Yishe came back to pack her clothes. She felt that they should be getting a divorce soon. Therefore, there was no need to continue living there. Unexpectedly, Hua Xiqian had returned at this time. Why are you back? Song Yishe looked at Hua Xiqian coldly. You can't move out yet. What a joke. Why should I listen to you? I told you, now isn't the time for a divorce. Don't make me repeat myself. Hua Xiqian looked down at Song Yishe with an impatient attitude. God knew how much he hated Song Yishe. If it weren't for the fact that this woman was still useful to him, he wouldn't have kept her around until now. That's your problem, not mine. I can't wait any longer. I don't want to talk to someone like you. Song Yishe had had enough. She used to think that she was the most hypocritical person in the world, but now she realized that Hua Xiqian was the ancestor of all hypocrites. He was 2 different people on the outside. Perhaps not many people knew that although he appeared to be a gentleman on the outside, he was actually a demon that could wake up at any moment. She didn't care how many women Hua Xiqian had outside. She just wanted to get away from this demon as soon as possible. Really? Does that mean you don't care about Chin Chu anymore? Hua Xiqian smiled. Upon hearing Chin Chu's name, Song Yishe stopped what she was doing. What did you do to Chin Chu? Song Yishe looked up and glared at Hua Xiqian angrily. Chapter 1394. Is he the number 1 suspect in T-City's police? Hua Xiqian smiled casually. There's no way he did it. I don't believe it. Chin Chu would never kill anyone. No matter how dumb Song Yishe was, she could tell what was going on. Who was Chin Chu? Why would he kill anyone? How could he do such a lowly thing? You believe him, but does he care about you? I'm afraid that he wouldn't even look at you if you stripped naked in front of him. Hua Xiqian walked over and used sharp words to humiliate Song Yishe. That's my business. I'm happy to. Even if I stripped naked in front of Chin Chu, I'd be happy if he didn't look at me. But for someone like you, no matter how many layers you wear, I still feel disgusted standing in front of you. With a loud slap, he viciously slapped her. He used so much force that Song Yishe felt dizzy. She fell to the ground, blood trickling down from the corner of her mouth. Don't both of you like Chin Chu? I don't know what's so good about him, but don't worry, I'll let you see. Chin Chu's final fate. And you, don't pretend to be some rich girl in front of me. In my eyes, you and your father are nothing more than my dogs. Do you understand? Hua Xiqian gripped Song Yishe's chin tightly. His smile reeked of blood. Song Yishe's body trembled slightly. She really wanted to yell at him, but she didn't have the guts. She had a feeling that other than the Hua Xiqian in front of her, there was another side to him. Once that demon awoke, it was as if his nightmare had arrived. I told you, you don't have to come back, but you can't move out in a big way. You can't let the media find out about our relationship. You have to continue being a loving couple with me. Song Yishe, don't do anything stupid. If you deny it, your fate won't be much better than Jiang Linyue's. After throwing out these words, Hua Xiqian slowly stood up and left. Song Yishe's heart slowly turned cold. She finally realized that Hua Xiqian was behind Jiang Linyue's death. But what kind of power did he use to kill Jiang Linyue without anyone noticing? If that was true, then it was too scary. He actually dared to kill someone. At this thought, Song Yishe's hair stood on end, and she didn't dare to continue packing. She took to her heels and ran. She couldn't wait to leave this empty villa. The next morning, Hua Mian woke up in the morning and used a thick layer of foundation to hide the obvious dark circles under her eyes. Then, he changed into a suit and went to GK headquarters. Good morning, a young lady. Good morning, a young lady. Along the way, all the employees nodded to greet the lady boss. She smiled in response. This 25-year-old girl relied on her powerful aura to hold down the fort at GK's headquarters under immense pressure. A young lady, we have a morning meeting in 5 minutes. Okay. Hua Min nodded. After organizing the meeting, he led Bella into the conference room. The meeting lasted for an hour, and none of the executives could get a word in. Hua Mian held the prepared materials in her hands and gave a brilliant speech. Did you all hear what I said? Hua Min looked around the room. Yes, a young lady. If anyone has any objections, please raise them. Hua Min looked down and organized the documents. No objections, we all agree with the young lady's plan. Hua Min nodded. Then, he stood up and glanced at Bella. Get the car ready, we're going to the hotel to meet the reporters. A young lady, do we really have to hold this press conference? Bella was a bit worried. If they held a press conference at this critical moment, wouldn't they be digging their own grave? What if they were stumped by questions? Wouldn't that make things worse and put GK in an even more desperate situation? We have to. Hua Min's eyes were filled with determination. She spent the whole night organizing the documents. Today, she had to turn the tables for Chin Chu. Chapter 1395. T-City. Chin Chu was under suspicion by the police, so he couldn't leave T-City for the time being. Inside the Marriott Hotel, Rick talked to Chin Chu on the phone. Chin Chu, I'm sorry. I didn't expect Hua Xiqian to lure us away. I thought he was going to do something big in C-City, so I followed him and ignored him. I didn't expect him to kill us so quickly. It's not your fault. If we could guess his next move, then he wouldn't be Hua Xiqian. Qin Chu never underestimated Hua Xiqian. He always knew that Hua Xiqian was a meticulous and ruthless person, therefore, Jiang Linyue's death was expected. However, Qin Chu was curious. Was Jiang Linyue's last text really meant to be sent to him? Or was it a show set up by Hua Xiqian's people? I saw Hua Min last night. Rick changed the topic and talked to Qin Chu about Hua Min. Qin Chu's tone instantly became gentle. My wife went with a client on my behalf. Yeah, she had a lot to drink. Qin Chu fell silent. Why didn't Hua Min say anything? You really do have a wife. Rick complimented. Do I need you to tell me that? Everyone on Earth knows that. Mr. Qin became arrogant again. He wanted to announce to the world that he had a great wife named Hua Min, so you have to keep an eye on her. Su Yu and Hua Xiqian are both watching her closely. Rick's next sentence made Qin Chu feel depressed. He was telling the truth. Su Yu didn't say anything about Hua Min, but his feelings for her were no longer as simple as a crush. They seemed to have deep feelings for each other. After Qin Chu's surgery, he woke up and ate and drank with Gao Ran alone. The two of them had chatted before. Gao Ran said, Hua Min loves you very much and is willing to die for you. But looking at Su Yu's attitude, he also almost died for Hua Min. He and Hua Min had been in love with each other for many years and had always been each other's one and only. But that didn't prove that Su Yu loved her less. It was the same for Hua Xiqian. Ever since they were young, he had always appeared in Hua Min's life. Although he had always been disliked, he still enjoyed it. Qin Chu had been observing silently for many years. He suddenly realized that Hua Xiqian was a pervert. He was so perverted that he could lay his hands on anyone around him, except for Hua Min. This kind of love was extreme and also extreme. Perhaps Hua Min still did not understand the kind of feelings that Hua Xiqian had for her. If she realized it, she wouldn't be troubled like Su Yu. Instead, she would be terrified. Hua Xiqian's love was truly terrifying. That was why Qin Chu forced himself to become stronger. He forced himself to solve everything for Hua Min. He wanted to protect her under his wings and not let her get hurt at all. However, he still overestimated his own ability. Perhaps he underestimated Hua Xiqian. He had planned for so many years. Every time he made a move, it would be fatal. Compared to him, Qin Chu wasn't ruthless enough. Hua Xiqian could use human lives as his stepping stones without any scruples. But he couldn't. He couldn't do anything that went against his morals and conscience. Because he wasn't someone without a bottom line, he was now at a disadvantage. I know. I won't let Mian get hurt, not even if I die. Qin Chu wasn't good at expressing himself. Whenever he made a decision, he would only silently bury it in his heart. Let's keep in touch. Okay. After hanging up, Gao Ran called him again. Bro, what's going on over there? I told my dad to call the director over there. If you continue to stay here, your reputation will be ruined. People who don't know the truth will think that you killed her. Fuck. I'm so pissed. Gao Ran couldn't stay calm. It's okay. Other than cooperating with the police, I still have some things to investigate. I see. I was wondering why you were so calm. Enrich, are you really okay? I'm really fine. Just tell me if you need anything. I didn't wear this uniform for nothing, Gao Ran promised as he patted his chest. I know. Then I'll wait for you to come back and drink. Qin Chu nodded and hung up on Gao Ran. In the lobby of GK's 5-star hotel in Sea City, more than 30 reporters were waiting there because Hua Min was going to represent GK at this press conference. They were going to answer all kinds of questions and give the public an explanation of the truth. "Hey, look, Mrs. Chin is here," a reporter yelled, and everyone turned to look at the passageway. Chapter 1396. Huamin appeared at the VIP entrance of the hotel in a slim black suit. Hotel security stood on both sides, and Huamin's new assistant, Bella, stood next to him. Huamin was someone who didn't like to make mistakes at key events, so he was very careful when choosing his assistants. Bella had been by Huamin's side for the past few days, and she liked how he handled things and how he handled things. She was very thoughtful. After Huamin sat down, Bella picked up a bottle of water, unscrewed it, and handed it to Huamin. She took a small sip, and then placed the water on the table. "We can begin now," she whispered to Bella. Bella nodded, stood up, and picked up the microphone. "Friends from the media, you can start asking questions now. While you're asking questions, please don't ask questions that are too personal or offensive, and don't purposely make things difficult for a young lady. Time is of the essence, so please go ahead." As soon as Bella finished speaking, the reporters immediately swarmed up to her. "Lady Chin, is this press conference to promote the star of GK or to explain the accident in T-City?" "Both," Huamin admitted frankly. "Lady Chin, I heard that the key person in this accident, Jiang Linyue, is dead, and that President Chin has something to do with it. Is that true?" Before Jiang Linyue died, she probably wanted to tell President Chin some important secrets, but she was killed before she could. "President Chin and I are both very sad about the death of our employee. President Chin has been cooperating with the investigation in T-City, and we hope that the murderer will be brought to justice as soon as possible. We also hope that everyone will stop spreading rumors and respect the dead and the innocent. Lady Chin. I heard that President Chin is in the hospital. How is he?" "Thank you for your concern. My father's condition has stabilized." "Lady Chin, aren't you a doctor? Did you resign? Are you going to be helping out at GK from now on?" "I didn't resign. I'm on vacation at Southside. My husband has to manage such a large company by himself, so it's inevitable that he'll feel powerless. He's my man, my husband. His business is the most important to me, so I can put everything aside and focus on his business first." After Huamin finished speaking, the entire room burst into applause. Some reporters discussed in private, "Mrs. Chin seems to love her husband very much. Yes, they're very close. I heard that they've been together since they were young and loved each other deeply. With a wife like this, what more can one ask for in life? I'm so envious of President Chin. Mrs. Chin. GK has been embroiled in negative news recently, and the stock market has plummeted. Does GK have any countermeasures to deal with this?" Huamin thought for a moment and replied, "We're trying to think of a way as well. I'm planning to hold GK's spring jewelry press conference tonight at the hotel. I believe that our new products will drive sales and win good reviews. We'll be able to lift up the slump in the market. GK Entertainment will also work hard to do better. In May, Ni Yang will release a new album, and he'll be experimenting with different styles. This time, he's going for a China style, and the winner of the Star of GK will be the female lead in his music video. I hope everyone can support him and wait for his release. Also, please rest assured that those who have bought GK's shares won't lose their money. These arrangements are great." "Mrs. Chin, did President Chin arrange these arrangements beforehand, or was this your personal idea? Or was this the result of your discussion?" Chapter 1397. My husband made all the arrangements. I'm in charge of assisting him. Huamin smiled. Bella, who was standing off to the side, immediately felt a sense of respect for Huamin. She had been by a young lady's side for the past few days, so she knew that President Chin was extremely busy and didn't have time to tell her about these things. A young lady wanted to do all of this herself, but when others asked, she gave all the credit to her man. It was rare to see a woman like her in the know these days. She remembered that a while ago, the mistress of a financial group CEO published a book to clear her name. In the book, she portrayed herself as an inspirational woman of the new era, and described the CEO as an idiot. Many people were selfish. Even if they were with their loved ones, they would still choose to show the most beneficial side to themselves. Huamin could have said that this was her own idea. She was a genius, and business was a piece of cake for her. However, this woman knew what to do. She wouldn't steal her husband's limelight in the business world. She also wouldn't step on her husband to highlight herself. That wasn't Huamin's style. Mrs. Qin. I heard that President Qin had something to do with Jiang Linyue's death. May I ask? President Qin hasn't returned yet because he's a suspect? As soon as this reporter asked this question, it immediately attracted attention. This was a question that many people wanted to ask, but didn't dare to. Bella's face darkened. She picked up the microphone and was about to retort back at the reporter. However, Huamin reached out and stopped her. She picked up the microphone, smiled, and said, "As a public figure, you naturally have to bear some pressure. I don't blame you for thinking that way when someone purposely tried to slander you, but the eyes in the group are sharp, and the truth will surface sooner or later. As the CEO of GK, how much hatred does my husband have for him to kill someone? Was it necessary for him to do that? Jiang Linyue has no grudge against him, so if it's really because of business secrets, then there's really no need for that. Those secrets are nothing to us. The reason why President Qin hasn't returned yet isn't only because of Jiang Linyue's death, but also because of the accident that killed a family of 5. President Qin wants to give them justice, so he's determined to investigate this matter no matter how hard it is. In my heart, he's a hero. He's not a profiteer who treats human lives like dirt. That's the biggest difference between him and other people." After Huamin finished speaking, the audience applauded again. This time, it was even louder than the previous one. Lady Qin's IQ and EQ are very high. Nothing seems to be a problem for her. A reporter sighed. Of course, do you think someone with an IQ of 138 is bragging? Don't you know what kind of brain he has? A young lady, do you want to take a break? Bella whispered into Huamin's ear. Huamin looked down at her watch and saw that there were only about 10 minutes left before the interview was over. Therefore, she shook her head. It's okay, we don't have much time left. Let them ask. Lady Qin, do you have anything to say about the Hua Corporation's entry into the entertainment industry? How is your relationship with the president of the Hua Corporation, Hua Xichen? We're not very close, but aren't you siblings? A fearless reporter asked. Just because they're siblings doesn't mean they're close. Miss Hua Yanyan is Hua Xichen's sister, but didn't she disappear from the Hua Corporation as well? So, don't use relationships to measure relationships. After all, everyone is different. It's normal for the Hua Corporation to enter the entertainment industry. Who wouldn't want to make money? I also wish President Hua a smooth career in the entertainment industry after his retirement. Hua Xichen didn't seem to be in a good mood as he watched Huamin speak in front of the TV. He picked up the remote control, pressed a button, and turned off the TV. Huamin's words were too official and didn't contain any personal feelings. He didn't take him seriously at all. Lady Qin, rumor has it that you have a close relationship with President Su of Imperial Star. Is that true? Chapter 1398. Reporter friend, as a professional in the media industry, you have to be precise with your words. I don't think you should use words like close relationship to describe me and President Su. President Su and I are just friends, we don't hang out that much. We are also business partners in a healthy competition. You can slander me, but please don't drag the innocent President Su into this. After all, he's innocent. Huamin's words silenced the little reporter who wanted to stir up trouble. There were only 3 minutes left until the end of the press conference. In the corner, a male reporter dressed in black said darkly, "Lady Qin, everyone knows that you and President Qin have been married for a while, but you're still not pregnant. May I ask why? Didn't I tell you not to ask personal questions? Don't you understand?" Bella immediately flipped out. It was too obvious that he had brought up young Madame Sorepoint and asked about it in public. "We're just curious, but a lot of people want to know what's going on. Mrs. Qin, are you infertile?" The male reporter was vicious. His words were getting more and more outrageous. "Security, give this person to me." Bella wanted to call the security guards over to chase this person out of the room. However, she was stopped by Huamin. She picked up the microphone and continued to maintain her charming smile. "Did your mother teach you anything when you were young? Don't try to expose other people's scars, that's the most basic principle of life. But it's okay if you don't understand, because not everyone is like that." Huamin laughed as he scolded the reporter, but there was nothing he could do. Before he could say anything, Huamin continued, "President Qin and I got married last summer, but we haven't had a wedding yet. It's been less than a year, and I don't think it's been a long time. Many couples don't even have a wedding after 3 or 4 years. Do they still want to live? Also, thank you for your concern. President Qin and I are both very healthy. We've already gone through a full-body checkup at Southside Recuperation Center. As for why we're not pregnant, I think it's because we're not fated yet. We've always been prepared to welcome a new life. Thank you for your concern. If there's any good news, I'll tell you immediately." Huamin's honesty and understanding once again attracted a wave of praise. Instead, it was that vicious little reporter who was spurned by her peers. "Mrs. Qin, you're so smart, it's a waste for you to stay as a doctor. Will you consider quitting and becoming an executive at GK? I'm sorry. Time's up. If there's a chance, we'll talk about this later. Thank you, everyone." Seeing that the time was just right, Huamin stood up gracefully. Then, he smiled and waved his hand. He left the front hall and returned to the lounge through the VIP passage. "A young lady, thank you for your hard work." Bella poured a cup of hot tea for Huamin. Perhaps it was because she didn't rest well and was tired from running around, but Huamin felt dizzy. Ahem. Ahem. She couldn't stop coughing. "A young lady, the press conference is over. Have a good rest. There's nothing urgent at GK that needs to be taken care of. It's okay. Bella, go tell everyone in the jewelry design department that we'll have a meeting in the conference room in 20 minutes. I have to finalize the new spring product today and release it tonight. You don't have to rush it. But your body. Go, do as I say. Also, no one is allowed to talk to President Qin about what's going on here." Huamin didn't want Qin Chu to know that she was sick. It was just a small cold. She wasn't that delicate. After Bella left, Huamin leaned against the sofa in the lounge, tired. Just then, his phone rang. Huamin tiredly picked up the phone. He heard his assistant, Chen Jie, say anxiously, "Director, can you come back for a second? Something happened here." Chapter 1399. Huamin immediately straightened up. "What is it? Do you remember the girl in room 5 in our neurology department?" "I do. Isn't her condition under control and getting better?" Huamin frowned slightly. "Yes, she was supposed to be discharged this week, but for some reason, she went to the rooftop. The firefighters and police are all here now. It's a big commotion. I think she's going to jump off the building." "How did that happen?" Huamin panicked when she heard that the patient was going to jump off the building. Maybe she was traumatized. "I don't know the details, but she's in a critical situation. Our department's directors wanted to ask for your opinion. After all, she's your patient. Wait here, I'll be right back. A life was at stake, and Hwa-Mian didn't want to waste any time. She called Bella and asked her to postpone the design department meeting. Then, she sped back to Southside in her Audi R8. Hwa-Min had been on vacation for a few days now because there were a lot of things to do at the company. President Wu allowed it, but he didn't expect that the patient he had almost cured would suddenly want to jump off the building. When Hwa-Min arrived, she saw a girl in a hospital gown standing on the edge of the 12th floor of the inpatient department. There were police cars and fire trucks below, and there was even a crowd of onlookers and reporters. What's the situation? Hwa-Min immediately asked when she saw Chin-Jia. It's been 20 minutes, but she still won't come down. She won't let anyone get close. The girl's mother has already fainted from crying. Her parents are on the rooftop trying to talk her out of it, but it's no use. Is there an air cushion below? Yes, but the 12th floor. I don't think it'll work. Plus, it's so cold and she's wearing so little. Even if she doesn't jump off the building, she'll get frostbite, Chin-Jia analyzed. Hwa-Min nodded, took the white coat from Chin-Jia, and put it on. I'll give it a try. The girl's pretty good to me. Chief, please be careful, Chin-Jia said worriedly. I'm fine, Hwa-Min said and took the elevator to the top floor. Then, he walked to the rooftop through the passageway. The girl was only 15 years old and was in her second year of junior high school in the city. Rumor had it that he was an excellent student and had always been an outstanding student since he was young. He rarely failed to get first place. It was precisely because she had lived such a repressed life since she was young that she was turned into a learning machine in order to satisfy her parents' vanity. This caused a subtle change in the little girl's heart. Her condition was a little special. She wasn't suffering from depression, but mania. It was just that her temper was especially irritable. Even the slightest thing would make her hysterical. It was very scary. She had smashed everything at home. Her parents had no choice but to send her to Southside. After interacting with her, Hwa-Min realized that the little girl was actually very innocent, so he had been guiding her. He played games with her, drew pictures, listened to music, and even took her to N.I. Yang's fan club. She was asked to do what a young girl should do, and the young girl gradually improved. She was supposed to be discharged this week, but for some reason, she became so angry that she wanted to jump off the building. To be honest, the little girl had been in the hospital for more than 20 days. Hwa-Min really liked her. He had feelings for her. As long as she could be saved, he didn't want anything to happen to her patient. After going up to the rooftop, the little girl's parents looked as if they saw their savior. Chief Hua, you're finally here. Please think of a way to save our Yuning. We only have one daughter. Chapter 1400. Sis, don't cry. I'll do my best. Dr. Hua, please take care of this. We can't live without her. The little girl's father looked haggard. I will. Don't worry. With that, Hwa-Min walked past them and went straight up to the rooftop. The northern winter was surprisingly cold. The cold wind stung one's cheeks, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling. Hwa-Mian was still wearing the small suit she didn't have time to change into, and she only had a thin white lab coat on. As soon as she walked up to the rooftop, her hair was messed up by the wind. Yuning, she called out affectionately. The little girl heard her voice and turned around. There was a slight change in her expression. Sister Hua. Yuning, what are you doing up there? Come down first. Hwa-Min looked at the little girl who was standing at the edge of the rooftop. She was so thin that she looked like she would fall down if the wind blew. Sister Hua, I don't want to live anymore. I'm so tired. Silly girl, you're cured and can be discharged soon. There's still a lot of hope in life. You shouldn't say such discouraging things at this time. You're still young, you're only 15. Hua-min tried his best to persuade her, but when I think about how my life will be arranged, I suddenly feel very bored. Maybe when I die, I'll be free, arranged. Hua-min caught the key word. Ask them. The little girl glanced at her parents coldly. Her mother lowered her head guiltily. Her father and I want to send her to England. The environment there is good and the quality of education is good. My neighbor's son went there before he finished school. Now, his English is so good and he's proud. Don't you think we raised our daughter to have a bright future? Otherwise, Before the little girl's mother could finish, Hua-min coldly interrupted her. So, in order to satisfy your pitiful vanity, you want to sacrifice your child's future? Or even her life? We didn't expect her to have such a big reaction. We always thought she liked it. Don't always try to figure out other people's preferences. You're not her, so how would you know what she likes? You just said that you only have one daughter and can't lose her. Now you say that you want to arrange a good future for her. You parents are really ridiculous. When Yuning was first hospitalized, you should reflect on why a 15-year-old child would have mania and bite people like crazy. Let me tell you, it's just a vent of emotions. You don't treat her as a daughter at all, just a learning tool, a tool to show off. In the end, you are satisfied with yourself. No, we care about her too. Actually. The girl's father argued. Really? Then tell me, what movies does she like, what books does she like to read, and what does she like to eat? What hobbies do you have? Which celebrity do you like? What's your favorite animal? Which anime do you like? After Hua-min finished his question, the girl's parents fell silent. As parents, how could they not know their children's hobbies? Mother, shouldn't you know about this? Tell me. How would I know? I only care about her studies and tutoring. The girl's mother was a little ashamed. Is it awkward? You keep saying that you love your child, but you don't know the most basic things that your child likes. Ha! Hua-min laughed mockingly. Sister Hua. The little girl seemed to be touched by Hua-min's words. She took a step forward. Hua-min didn't miss this small detail, and she was a little happy. Yuning, do you trust me? Hua-min asked gently. Chapter 1401. Hua-min, don't say anything. Let me guess what your habits are, okay? Hua-min looked at Qing Yuning as if she was comforting a child, her tone gentle. The little girl didn't say anything. She still stood at the edge of the rooftop, looking at Hua-min. Not far away, the police officers and firefighters were all sweating profusely. They were afraid that if they weren't careful, the little girl would fall. This wasn't a joke, it was a matter of life and death. Hua-min turned around and slowly approached the little girl. Her steps were light and slow. As she walked, she said, "Your favorite movie is Superpower Marine, because you want to have a friend as warm as Whitey, right?" The little girl's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. She had never told anyone about her feelings. Hua-min continued, "Your favorite book is The Love of the Hawthorn Tree. You think that only love that transcends life and death is unforgettable. That kind of ordinary love with warmth is what you yearn for the most. Hua-min, why do you?" The little girl was a little surprised. "You like pistachios because you think they're snacks that make you happy. Your hobby is photography, you like to take pictures of the many moving and static details of life. Your favorite celebrity is Audrey Hepburn, you think she's as beautiful as an angel. Your favorite animal is a koala, you think it's always protected by its mother. Your favorite anime is One Piece, You like Lu Fei's naive and optimistic personality. You want to live as freely as he does. Qing Yuning looked at Huamin's face. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Huamian, I've never told anyone. How did you know? The little girl's face was full of shock. I'm a person who's good at observing details. Although you don't say it, the details of your life are revealed. Your phone, your clothes, and your little accessories all reflect your preferences. You're actually a very warm child. You want to be understood and you want to be free. The little girl's tears fell. Perhaps it was because no one understood her for too long, but, Yuning, longing for freedom is not seeking death. Death will not bring relief. It will only make those who love you suffer. This is an escape, you know. But living is really tiring. I'm in so much pain. Pain and happiness depend on your heart. Why don't you try a different way of life? Can I? The little girl's eyes were a little confused. At this time, Huamin was almost beside her. Her footsteps were very light, little by little. Finally, he caught her hand. Big sister Hua, don't come near me. The little girl became agitated again. Yuning, we can discuss anything. Let's go down and talk. No, I don't want to go down. Don't come over, or I'll jump down. The little girl seemed to be agitated again. Before she could finish, Huamin suddenly reached out and grabbed her arm. It was because of the element of surprise that he was able to succeed so easily, but at this moment, the little girl suddenly struggled. She lost her balance and her body immediately leaned back. Director. Chen Jia was scared out of her wits. Yuning. My daughter. The voices of Chen Jia and the little girl's parents came from behind. The little girl pulled Huamin, and the two of them fell down the stairs. The people behind them were so scared that their faces turned pale. Chapter 1402. Luckily, Huamin reacted quickly and grabbed onto the metal railing of the rooftop with his other hand. What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up and save her. Chen Jia was almost in tears as she yelled at the stunned police officers. Only then did the police officers and firefighters react. They immediately ran over and pulled them up. Once they were on the rooftop, Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. You were too impulsive. Who told you to approach the little girl so recklessly? Do you know how dangerous it was? The police officer's leader yelled at Huamin. You don't know her. She has mania and can't be delayed any longer. If we delay, she'll become irritable and become even more dangerous. After Huamin spoke calmly, he stood up with Chen Jia's help. Give her a sedative and let her rest. I'll check on her later. Okay, Chief. Huamin looked at the frightened parents of the little girl. If you don't want her to die, don't force her. Why should we send her to the UK or the US? It's up to her where she wants to go, right? Let me give you a piece of advice. A parent's biggest wish is for their child to grow up safely and happily, not bring them glory. Then, Huamin dragged his tired body downstairs. Chief, it's time for lunch. I'll get you some. Eat before you leave. Chen Jia's heart ached for Huamin, so she carefully supported him the whole way. Ahem. It's okay, I have something to do. I'll go to the company first. Keep an eye on the kid and report back to me. Okay, Chief. Huamin forced himself to stay alert. He got into the Audi and drove to GK. On the way, Qin Chu picked up his phone. She hung up the video call and called back. Why did you hang up? I'm driving. Huamin tried to make his voice sound more lively. If Mr. Qin knew that she had just experienced a terrifying experience where she almost fell off a building, he would definitely be shocked. He probably had to do it with a belt again. Have you eaten? Not yet. I'm driving to the company. I'll eat when I get there. I saw the live broadcast of the press conference. How is it? What do you think? I didn't embarrass you, did I? Huamin chuckled. Wifey, I'm sorry, why are you apologizing? Huamin was puzzled. There have been a lot of unexpected things recently, and I feel bad that you've been working with me. You shouldn't be doing things like the press conference. What nonsense are you talking about? Aren't we husband and wife? We've gone through thick and thin together. From the moment we registered our marriage, we've been bound together for better or worse. Your glory is my glory, and your predicament is my predicament. Huamian, you're so good to me, how could I let you go? Little Chu, are you saying that you're giving up on me? Huamin chuckled. No. I mean, I won't give up on you even if I die. That's more like it. Don't even think about dumping me. I've decided to be your dog skin plaster for the rest of my life. I'll be your dog skin plaster in our next life, and the one after that too. Even Granny Meng can't do anything to me. After speaking, Huamin whistled. On the other end of the phone, Qin Chu chuckled quietly. Qin Chu had to deal with all kinds of complicated things every day, and only when he spoke with Huamin did he feel a moment of peace. Honey. I'm going to the company for a meeting in a bit. I need to finalize the new spring jewelry line. Okay. Do you have any ideas? Huamin asked for Qin Chu's opinion. Chapter 1403. It's up to you. Honey, does this count as a harem interfering in politics? Haha, Huamin laughed and asked. Wouldn't it be a waste if you don't interfere in politics when you have such a powerful harem? Qin Chu asked back. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. Honey, I'm almost there. I'll talk to you later when we get home. Okay, be careful. After hanging up, Huamin parked the car and went upstairs. Bella, do you still have food? I'm starving. Huamin said as he walked in front of the president's office. Bella looked surprised. It's already 2:00, you haven't had lunch yet. Do you have any fast food? I'll just have a bite of bread. I have a meeting in a bit. Before Bella could say anything, she saw Ni Yang walk over with a brocade box. Sis, I'm here to bring you food. Why are you here? Huamin was surprised to see Ni Yang. Jia just called me and said that you just finished work at Southside and haven't had lunch yet. I was rehearsing at the company today, so I drove out to buy some food. Good boy, I didn't dote on you for nothing. Huamin patted Ni Yang's head lovingly. She never thought that this child, who used to suffer from depression, would become a warm and caring boy. Ni Yang put down the box and poured Huamin a glass of warm water. Sis, you eat first. I'll continue rehearsing. I'll be at the company today, just call me if you need anything. Go ahead. After Ni Yang left, Bella looked at Huamin with envy. A young lady, you're so popular. Ni Yang is very cold and doesn't get close to most people. Cold. Him. That's not it. That's because you don't know him. Huamin smiled as he opened the food box. Ni Yang was really generous. She bought some dishes from a famous private restaurant in the city. There were a total of 4 dishes, 2 meat and 2 vegetables. There was also a bowl of red bean soup, which was especially delicious. Huamin was probably really hungry and ate a lot. After finishing the battle quickly, she took the blueprint that she had prepared for the meeting in the morning and studied it carefully. In the afternoon, they discussed with the jewelry design department for 3 whole hours before finalizing the new product. The press conference was set to start at 8 p.m. at one of GK's hotels. Due to the lack of time, Huamian didn't invite too many people. She was very touched that Jiang Xiaowei had taken the initiative to agree to come on stage. One had to know that Xiaowei was pregnant, a national treasure. If Xiaowei came, then Wei Liao would naturally come. If Wei Liao came, then Tang Chuan would definitely come. Then, Su Yu, Huamin did not invite him. After all, this was just a press conference, and she didn't want to use this opportunity to hype herself up. When she walked out of the company in the afternoon, it was barely 5 p.m. Huamin saw that there was still some time, so she drove to the supermarket to buy some supplements. Then, she went to President Wu's house. President Wu lived in a high-end residential area in the city. It was a multi-story house, not far from where Wu Xiaoxue used to live, so it wasn't hard to find. President Wu should have gotten off work by now. Huamin nervously pressed the doorbell. Huamin. President Wu was slightly surprised when he opened the door. President Wu. Why are you here? I'm here to give you a gift. Recently, I've been delaying my work, so I was afraid that you would fire me. Huamin smiled. You. President Wu, who had a serious expression on his face, was amused by her words. After she went in, President Wu's wife came out as well. She was a very enthusiastic old lady. They made dumplings and invited Huamin over for dinner. Huamin didn't refuse. She sat in President Wu's dining room and slowly ate the dumplings. Huamin, you came to see me for something, right? President Wu could tell that this girl came with a lot on her mind. He didn't want to beat around the bush, so he took the initiative to ask. After Huamin heard this, she slowly put down her chopsticks. You can tell. She smiled apologetically. Tell me, what is it? I'll see if it's something I can help with. President Wu had a kind face. He cherished talents, so he treated Huamin exceptionally well. It could also be said that Huamin's achievements today were all thanks to President Wu's promotion. He was willing to give her a chance, so she had her current glory. President Wu. Huamin stuttered, as if she didn't dare to say it out loud. Chapter 1404. President Wu looked at Huamin's hesitant expression and became anxious. Director, I want to resign. In the end, Huamin made up her mind and blurted out the words on the tip of her tongue. She felt a lot more relaxed after she said it. President Wu wasn't surprised. It seemed like he expected Huamin to make this choice. Have you made up your mind? President Wu poured himself a glass of wine and asked slowly. Huamin nodded with determination. Emichim, Qin Chu is too busy right now. There are too many things going on at the company, and my father-in-law isn't in good health. I want to go back and help him. But, isn't being a doctor your biggest dream? Yes, but compared to my husband's business, I want to prioritize his business. I'm not a successful person, and I don't have much ambition. I'm not a strong woman, but in my eyes, my husband's business is the most important thing. I can't bear to see him work so hard, so... Huamin didn't finish her sentence. However, it was obvious that he understood what she wanted to say. After a long moment of silence, President Wu looked up at her. Huamin, you know, I've always admired your talent. Emichim, I know. There are many doctors, but not many are as dedicated as you. You've worked at Southside for so long, and although I haven't praised you verbally, I can't deny your contributions to the hospital. Director, I'm not that good, you're flattering me. Huamin was a little embarrassed. Let me finish. I understand where you're coming from, and it's normal for you to resign. GK is such a big corporation, and Qin Chu doesn't have many helpers by his side. It's inevitable that he'll be tired. If you go, he'll be able to relax a lot. You and your wife have always been close, so it's natural for you to do this, but I won't approve of your resignation. I can't approve of it. Huamin was slightly stunned upon hearing this. Director, I'm also selfish. I don't want our hospital to lose such an excellent doctor. So, I've decided to give you leave without pay. Leave without pay. Huamin's mouth was slightly agape. He was at a loss for words. What a great honor it was to stay on without pay. It meant that they would not be paid, but their position would always be retained. He could go back at any time and be reinstated at any time. Most employers wouldn't make such a request unless the employee was exceptionally outstanding. Huamin was flattered. I'll always reserve the position of chief physician in the neurology department for you. Once you're done with your work over there, if you want to come back to work, Southside will always welcome you. Director, how could I? Huamin's voice was choked with sobs. But, there will be no bonus or salary, President Wu emphasized with a smile. I don't want any bonus or salary. Director, you're treating me like this, I'm really. Huamin was a little emotional. You deserve all of this. You're so excellent that you shouldn't be buried. If you didn't get married so early, I would have continued to persuade you to study abroad and contribute more to the medical field. I'm old, and my thinking is different from you young people. You might think that we're old-fashioned and traditional. But Huamin, remember, a person's success isn't measured by money, status, or power, nor is it measured by their achievements. It's measured by how much they contribute to society and how much they are worth. Do you understand? Chapter 1405. I understand. This was also my initial thought when I was young. I've always felt that using everything I've learned to save one life after another is the most meaningful thing in the world. Very good. So, not only do I admire your talent, but I also respect your character. You will always be the best Dr. Hua at Southside. Upon hearing this, Huamin felt a deep sense of respect for President Wu. She slowly stood up and bowed deeply to President Wu. Thank you, as my elder, my leader, and my boss. You've always given me positive energy, encouraged me, and guided me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to achieve the glory I have today, and thank you for giving me a way out. You've allowed me to keep hope in my heart. That's enough, stop being so sentimental. I'm not used to this. Hurry up and eat, the dumplings are going to get cold. President Wu smiled kindly, then, he changed the topic and continued to eat dumplings with Huamin while discussing some academic issues related to neurology. Time flew by. Huamin looked at the time and saw that there was less than an hour left until the press conference. Director, I'll be leaving now, okay? Starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, you don't have to come. You can pick up your personal belongings when you have time. The office will still be reserved for you. Director, my assistant, Chen Jia, is an excellent nurse. Huamin continued to nag. I know, as long as she's willing to work hard, I'll give her a chance. Thank you. Huamin was ecstatic from the bottom of her heart. She didn't know how many times she had thanked President Wu that night. Before they left, President Wu suddenly lowered his voice and said, Ning Ziyuan is going to Chicago. Has he made up his mind? Huamin tilted her head and looked at President Wu. I think so. Actually, I don't think highly of him, but since Xiao Xue is willing to give him a chance for the sake of the child, we can only give him our blessings. I hope that he can really turn over a new leaf this time. Okay. Huamin nodded. After bidding farewell to President Wu, he drove straight to the hotel where the press conference would be held. Oh my God, a young lady. What took you so long? You didn't put on any makeup, did you? Quick, quick, quick. There was less than half an hour left until the press conference, and Bella was extremely anxious. A young lady, as the main character of this new product launch, didn't change her clothes or put on makeup. It's okay. I'll just be myself. Tonight's event at 2 p.m. is a new product, not me. Hua-min smiled. A young lady, but... Bella seemed to want to say something. It's okay. Trust me, I won't embarrass our company. Hua-min smiled mischievously and turned to enter the lounge. She simply put on a very light makeup for herself, and surprisingly, she put on a black eyeliner that was slightly upturned. It was actually a little sexy. This was a style that she had never tried before. She also didn't wear the luxurious evening gown that the company prepared. Instead, she wore the black casual, tight-fitting suit that she was wearing, looking very professional and exquisite. This style was very much like Chin Chu's. 10 minutes before the press conference, the guests began to enter the venue one after another. Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, and Tang Chuan sat in the first row to watch the show. Jiang Xiaowei sat next to Hua-min, and the two of them chatted happily. It's so boring without Lord Su around. He'll be sad if he knows that he wasn't invited, Tang Chuan said on purpose for Hua-min to hear. Hua-min smiled awkwardly. Just then, Bella walked over and whispered into Hua-min's ear, "A young lady, President Hua of the Hua Corporation is here." Hua-min's expression changed slightly. Chapter 1406. Jiang Xiaowei also saw Hua Xiqian from the corner of her eye, and her face immediately darkened. What's he doing here? Isn't he proud enough? Recently, Hua Xiqian had been going against GK more and more. While Chin Chu wasn't around, he tried his best to steal GK's talent. Whether it was real estate or entertainment, they were all at loggerheads. Hua-min didn't know what was wrong with Hua Xiqian. Why was he acting like this all of a sudden? Mian, why didn't you tell me about the launch of your new product? Hua Xiqian walked in. He was wearing an orange suit and was as high profile as ever. President Hua is so busy every day, how could I disturb you? Don't be so formal, we're family. Hua Xiqian looked at Hua-min's face and was in a good mood. President Hua, you must be joking, we're not family. I don't have a relative as noble as President Hua. You're throwing a tantrum again. Are you still mad at me for starting an entertainment company? If that's the case, then I can just ask those artists to go back. Is that worth it? Hua Xiqian smiled playfully. Hua-min also maintained his elegance. I'm sorry, I don't like to let others give in to me, and neither does my husband. So, President Hua, please keep them for yourself. Also, since some people have left, even if they come back, we won't take them back. After he spoke, Hua-min looked meaningfully at Emo Shui, who was wearing a black evening gown, standing beside Hua Xiqian. Emo Shui, on the other hand, looked calm. Mrs. Qin, you must be joking. I've never turned back. Since I've already left, why would I go back? Before Hua-min could speak, Emo Shui, continued, I wasn't very close to your company back then. If it weren't for President Hua's recommendation, I wouldn't have signed with GK. Isn't it normal for me to leave now? We weren't friends to begin with. Upon hearing Emo Shui's mocking words, Hua-min was extremely angry. For a while, Emo Shui complained to Hua-min about her child. Hua-min's even questioned Hua Xiqian about it. But now, this woman's eyes. SSS. Was of family's way. Otherwise, house of her of SSS, that's of SS of SS of stu. SSS, S. S is SSS. Did she want to compete with Hua-min? She was still too inexperienced. Hua-min could go on for an hour and make her heart hurt. It would hurt her badly, but Hua-min didn't think it was necessary. After a few words, Hua Xiqian and Nemo Shui sat in the first row. They came uninvited. Hua Min wasn't happy, but he didn't chase them away. After all, there were still reporters outside. It wouldn't be good if there were any negative news on the show. 5 minutes before the show started, Hua Min sat in the first row and secretly sent Qin Chu a WeChat message. "Honey, I'm so nervous." It was her first time launching a new product, so she was really nervous. Hua Min was afraid that he wouldn't do a good job. If he couldn't increase sales, he would feel guilty. "It's okay, honey. Just say it 3 times in your heart. I'm not nervous." "Honey, you're still in the mood to tease me at a time like this." "It's okay, honey. Let's just treat it as a game. Don't feel pressured, I'll watch your live stream." She became even more nervous when Qin Chu said he wanted to watch her live stream. "A young lady, are you ready? Can we start?" Bella asked from the side. Hua Min held her breath and nodded, then, the lights dimmed and loud music started. While everyone's attention was drawn to the music, a man wearing a white Versace jacket sat down in the corner of the last row. He quietly looked at Hua Min sitting in the front row, his gaze gentle. Chapter 1407. Hua Min had spent a lot of money to hire the models for the show, and all of them were famous domestic and international models. They were here to showcase GK's new spring collection. Therefore, when the models walked onto the stage with jewelry, the crowd gasped in awe. GK's new collection this time is very unique. It's completely different from the traditional ones. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Did they change the designers? I heard that Lady Qin is hosting the show herself. The style has changed drastically. But I think it's pretty good. Only by keeping up with the trends can they not be eliminated. Even my mom thought the old and conservative styles were outdated. Who would want to buy them? The guests who had come to watch the show were all talking about it. When the first few of them appeared, they had already shocked everyone. Their reputation was very good. "Mian, the star-shaped necklace on the model looks pretty good." "Ha, I'll buy one for my baby." "What are you buying?" "I'll give it to you." Hua Min was extremely generous. "You're so generous." Jiang Shaowei chuckled. "Of course, what if we become in-laws in the future?" "Ha ha ha, didn't you already order Zhu Lingling's babies?" "My family will get a share as well." Jiang Shaowei laughed. "The fortune teller said that I might have more than one child. If I have 2, 3, or 4, it'll be a piece of cake for the Qin family." "Pfft, you're so greedy." Jiang Shaowei intimately held on to Hua Min's hand. She seemed to be enjoying the show. Hua Min and GK's top 10 designers spent the night picking out the designs from tens of thousands of designs. Compared to the past, they did make a lot of changes. Hua Min was a bit nervous, not sure if the public would buy it. After all, the changes might not be suitable for all industries and projects. Luckily, Mr. Qin was very easy to talk to and let her make all the decisions. From Mr. Qin's words, it didn't matter if she ruined GK, as long as his wife was happy. Tang Chuan was not interested in these things. If it were not for the fact that he had to support Hua Min, he would not have bothered to come. He lowered his head, took out his phone, and sent a WeChat message to Su Yu. "Lord Su, I'm watching GK Jewelry Spring release." "I know," Su Yu replied instantly. "How did you know?" "Because I'm here too." Pfft. Tang Chuan almost spat out a mouthful of mineral water onto Wei Liao's face. "Fuck, you spilled the beans." Wei Liao was speechless. He carefully wiped his suit with a tissue. Tang Chuan quickly turned around to look for her. Finally, she saw Su Yu in the corner, dressed in white. He quickly turned around and continued to send messages on WeChat. Fuck, you really came, yes. Then why are you at the back? Come to the front. It's a good view here. No, I want to keep a low profile. Fuck off, you still want to keep a low profile. I just want the whole world to know that I keep a low profile, Siyu replied jokingly. Tang Chuan was speechless. Then are you fucking keeping a low profile? Aren't you being too high profile? Tang Chuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just tell Huamin that I'm here. I'll be leaving in a bit. Fuck, then why are you here? Are you trying to burn your ass? I'm just passing by. Who would believe you? Tang Chuan knew that Suyu was definitely not just passing by. He just wanted to see Huamin, but he didn't want her to know that Lord Su's love was getting greater and greater. Even Tang Chuan felt that if he were a woman, he would be touched by Su Yu's love. In the end, Tang Chuan didn't tell anyone that Su Yu was here, including Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei. More than 2 hours passed. When it was about to end, Bella walked up to Huamin. A young lady, it's about time. You can release the last design. Huamin nodded, took off his black suit jacket, and slowly walked onto the stage. Chapter 1408. Inside was a white chiffon shirt with half sleeves. The cuffs were inlaid with GK diamonds. It was extremely luxurious. White shirt and black pants. It was a simple combination that was identical to Qin Chu's style. Huamin's hair was slightly curly, and she wore GK's new pearl earrings. They were exquisite and extremely cute. She elegantly walked onto the stage in her 5-inch black heels. Then, she took the microphone from the host. Just then, not far behind her, a 7 or 8-year-old girl wearing a white gown began to play City in the Sky. After the music started, Huamin looked around the room and smiled. Siyu looked at her from afar and felt as if something had touched his heart. Huamin isn't a gorgeous woman, but her aura is truly invincible. I've seen countless women, but I've never seen one as stunning as her, Tang Chuan sincerely praised. Then, he took out his phone and recorded a short video for Huamin. My Mian is one of a kind. If I were a man, I'd like her too, Jiang Xiaowei said proudly. Wei Liao intimately put his arm around Jiang Xiaowei's shoulder. Slightly, in our next life, if you're a man and I'm a woman, we'll still be together. Shameless, who wants to be with you? Although Jiang Xiaowei said this, she actually felt very sweet on the inside. Wei Liao was a man with a high IQ and a good temper. Most of the time, he gave in to Jiang Xiaowei. He always compromised, and doted on her. Jiang Xiaowei was very satisfied with her current life, even though she knew that she couldn't be like Huamin. She could have a man who loved her as much as his life, but after all, people couldn't compare. In this world, there was only one Qin Chu, and only one Huamin. Just then, Huamin, who was in the middle of the stage, gently opened his mouth to the sound of the piano. Next, I'd like to introduce GK Jewelry's last new product of spring. It's also a piece of jewelry that I personally like very much. Then, a hostess walked up to the stage and opened the box in her hand. Huamin took out a pair of bracelets. They were dark blue, the color of the sea. This is a pair of bracelets for couples. We named it Eternal Light. After speaking, Huamin put one bracelet down and put it on his wrist. Then, he raised his wrist and continued, it's 12 to 23 centimeters long, 8 centimeters wide, and weighs 45 grams. It's made of platinum and is embedded with 134 blue diamonds. It represents a lifetime. The most beautiful thing in the world is love. I think that when you're with someone, if they can give you the energy to wake up happy every day, sleep peacefully every night, and be filled with motivation for everything you do and hope for the future, then it proves that you didn't fall in love with the wrong person. The most suitable love is never to torture and eat each other in the name of love. Instead, it's to be with each other and be each other's eternal sunshine. That's why we named it Eternal Light. I hope you like it. After Hwamin finished speaking, the audience applauded, and the reporters picked up their cameras and began to take pictures like crazy. Mrs. Chin, is this bracelet available now? When will it be available for sale? Eternal Light is complicated to make and the materials are scarce, so we don't have it in stock. We're only accepting pre-orders. Mrs. Chin, how much is this jewelry set? Can you tell us? It's not for sale individually. It's designed for couples who love each other, so it's sold as a pair. The two bracelets together cost 680 million yuan. It's not expensive at all. It's much cheaper than some luxury bracelets. Those luxury bracelets cost hundreds of thousands. GK's prices are much more affordable. Upon hearing this, Hwamin only smiled. Damn, it's so beautiful. Honey, I want this bracelet too. Jiang Xiaowei immediately fell in love with it at first sight. I'll buy it. Wei Liao was extremely generous. Even Tang Chuan was tempted. When I get married, I'll buy one for my wife too. It's not bad, it's so beautiful. 134 blue diamonds. How did he come up with that? Hwamin is so talented. I have to give it to him. Inside the presidential suite at the Marriott Hotel in T-City, sir, what do you think of a young lady's last treasure? Yang asked the boss excitedly. Chapter 1409. It's not bad. I think it's great too. A young lady is very bold. Although it's risky to change the design, I have a feeling that it'll sell like hotcakes. Assistant Yang was extremely excited. His days in T-City were very boring. Every day, the president ran around and dealt with all kinds of difficult matters. Sometimes, he was so bored that he almost fell asleep at the hotel. Just now, he was watching the live broadcast on his laptop and his blood was boiling. I said my wife's clothes are very good. Assistant Yang, sir, shouldn't the focus be on our new product? Assistant Yang was speechless. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He stared at Hwamin on the stage as if he couldn't get enough of him. Sir, is there an internal purchase price for this pair of bracelets? 68,000 yuan is quite expensive. Assistant Yang seemed to be tempted as well. He immediately wanted to buy a pair of bracelets and wear them with his wife. Then, he could show off to his friends on WeChat. Yes, if you buy it, I can sell it to you for 68,500 yuan. I'll give you a discount of 300 yuan, Qin Chu replied in all seriousness. Assistant Yang, sir, you're so funny. Like Hwamin, Qin Chu also paid attention to GK jewelry. However, after the new year, sales fell into a slump. It wasn't just their company, all jewelry companies were the same. During this period of weakness, releasing new products was actually a good thing. At least, they could change it to something that didn't make people tired of looking at it. Other than the finale bracelet, there was also a series of jewelry such as pearl earrings, necklaces, bracelets, rings, and so on. Hwamian did this after considering all aspects. She had to satisfy different markets according to different demands. After the new product launch, Bella ran over excitedly. A young lady, we've already received orders worth more than 5 million yuan. That's crazy. Hwamin was a bit flabbergasted. It hadn't even been 10 minutes since the new product launch. Were these people crazy? It's true, especially the Eternal Light bracelet. The orders on our website are still increasing. It's terrifying, not bad. I'm quite surprised. Hwamin had taken a risk by choosing Eternal Light. This was because a few veteran designers felt that they should preserve their original style and not take risks. Just make a love bracelet that imitates a certain luxury brand. However, Huamin didn't like to plagiarize. He didn't like to walk the path of others. She felt that if a company did not innovate and only relied on its past achievements, adhering to the rules, or following the trend of design, it would be useless. In the end, they would still be eliminated by the market. She remembered passing by a small hotel when she was very young. That hotel was very popular in the city at that time. Many people would choose to hold their weddings there. The sign outside their hotel was very eye-catching. I have what others don't have, I can change what others have, and I'm good at changing what others can. At that time, Huamin felt that this boss was smart and would definitely achieve great things. In the end, more than 10 years had passed, and that medium-sized hotel had now opened more than 30 chain stores in the province. That little boss also became a well-known entrepreneur. Therefore, this time, they put a lot of effort into innovation. Finally, at the last moment, they jointly created Eternal Light. Also, Huamin had a little secret that she hadn't told him. Back then, when she took the final manuscript of Eternal Light to the production department, she said that she wanted to make a pair first, and she wanted to wear it herself. There were 2 letters engraved on the inside of each bracelet, CM. The homonyms of Chu and Mian. She wanted to give this mysterious gift to Qin Chu on their wedding anniversary. For so long, Qin Chu had always been the one to prepare surprises for her. She didn't seem to have prepared anything for him. Just thinking about it made her happy. The original plan was to have a wedding on the day of their marriage certificate. However, with so many things going on in the company, Huamin didn't mention it to Qin Chu. Huamin's in-laws urged her a few times, but Huamin ignored them. After all, she wanted to wait until everything was settled before having a romantic, unforgettable wedding with Qin Chu. After the launch of the new product, Huamin walked Jiang Shaowei and the others out. When she turned her head, she happened to walk across Hua Xiqian. Eternal Light is amazing, just like you. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin with a dubious gaze. Chapter 14:10. President Hua, you're too kind. Huamin's tone was obviously distant. There was a period of time when her relationship with Hua Xiqian eased up a lot. At that time, Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian was actually a good person. But now, she realized that he had too many thoughts, and no one would ever know what he was thinking. He was the kind of person who could do anything. Especially when Huamin suspected that he had something to do with Jiang Linyua's murder, and when Song Yisher sent her a private message on Weibo. She was increasingly convinced that Hua Xiqian and she were destined to walk on 2 different paths and would never cross. They couldn't even be friends because they had different values. Although Su Yu was arrogant and high profile, Su Yu at least had a decent view of life and knew what to do and what not to do. But when it came to Hua Xiqian, there was no such thing as should or shouldn't. When Huamin chatted with Qin Chu later, they both suspected that Hua Xiqian had something to do with Hua Xinghai's death. Although there was no direct evidence, Huamin still felt that Hua Xinghai shouldn't have died so quickly. Hua Xiqian had him under house arrest for so long, and no one knew what he said or did in the end. Everyone in the Hua family was kicked out of the company, and even Hua Yinyan's biological daughter didn't get a single cent. Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian was sometimes too ruthless. He didn't leave any leeway for others. Although this kind of person could achieve great things, he basically didn't have many friends. Because he wasn't willing to open his heart to anyone. Mian, you seem to hate me a lot lately. Hua Xiqian took a step closer to Huamin. Huamin took 2 steps back. No, you're thinking too much. Really? Hua Xiqian smiled playfully. I've never liked you, so how can I hate you, haha. Huamin sneered. You're still so sharp-tongued and unreasonable, but I still like you so much. What should I do? Hua Xiqian's lips curled up slightly with an evil smile. He couldn't wait any longer. He really wanted Qin Chu's news. A Huamin without Qin Chu might be the most complete Huamin. In his opinion. I can't afford President Hua's love. Huamin, you should go and like the people you get along with. We're destined to walk different paths. Thank you for coming to the product launch. If you place an order, I'll give you a 10% discount. Goodbye. After speaking, Huamin turned around and walked into the hotel. Hua Xiqian licked his lips, and then got into the car. In the passenger seat, Mo Shui had a look of disdain on her face. What's so great about it? She didn't design it, it was the designer who designed it. She's making it sound like it's all her work. Even an idiot would be able to design this product launch. All she did was show her face. Speaking in hindsight is really degrading, Hua Xiqian said coldly as he tilted his head and looked at Mo Shui. She knew that Hua Xiqian wasn't happy with her talking about Huamin. But she just wanted to say, did he have to act like Huamian was the most awesome person in the world? She was really pissed off. By the time Huamin returned to the hotel, most of the guests had already left. Bella walked up to Huamin, picked up a shawl, and put it on him. Thank you. A young lady, I'll drive you home. It's okay, it's late. You should go home and get some rest. Thank you for your hard work, Bella. It's nothing, it's what I should do. Then go to bed early. See you tomorrow. A young lady, what's up? Huamin turned around. Actually, there's something I don't know if I should tell you. Bella was hesitant. Go ahead. Huamin looked at Bella's hesitation. Chapter 14:11. Actually, after the press conference started, someone else came. Although he sat in the back row, I still saw him. Who was it? Huamin was confused. It was the president of Imperial Star, Su Yu. Him. Huamin was slightly surprised. She had been busy all night and didn't see Su Yu at all. He snuck in. Is he trying to steal our company's secrets? Is Imperial Star trying to enter the jewelry industry? Bella didn't know the true relationship between Huamin and Su Yu, so she always thought of Imperial Star as her enemy. He won't, don't worry. Huamin smiled as he got into the car. As soon as she sat down, she received a WeChat message. Mian, if I can defeat Qin Chu, will you hate me? The winner takes all, why would I hate you? Huamin asked back. Hua Xiqian immediately replied in surprise, you really think so? Yes, I won't hate you. I'll only fight you with my husband. Ha! Hua Xiqian only replied with one word. She was still as stubborn as ever. Just then, Huamin sent her another WeChat message. You stole GK's land midway, you're amazing. You poached all of GK's employees when the whole corporation opened an entertainment company, you're amazing. But, if you think that you're willing to sacrifice innocent lives just to defeat Qin Chu, Hua Xiqian, don't you feel guilty at all? Little sister Mian, what are you talking about? I don't understand. No, you do. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm just reminding you, it's okay to make money, it's okay to fight for fame and fortune, but remember your bottom line. After speaking, Huamin directly blocked Hua Xiqian. He didn't even bother to delete them, because if he did, they could still add you again and again and harass you. If he blacklisted her, the connection would be cut off permanently. Although Hua Xiqian did not directly declare war, he had been making frequent moves recently, targeting Qin Chu. Huamin had already seen through his intentions. Therefore, it was impossible for him to pretend that they were still friends and keep his WeChat. When Hua Xiqian sent another reply to Huamin, he realized that his message had been rejected. TSK, blacklisting me. I like that. Hua Xichen smiled, and his smile became even brighter. Before he started the car, he turned to look at Immerse. Hey, tell me, what is the bottom line of a person? Immerse was slightly surprised. She didn't know why Hua Xichen would ask such a strange question. She wasn't prepared for it at all. Bottom line. How much is it worth? Sigh. Hua Xichen sighed and continued driving. Hua Min dragged her exhausted body to the first hospital. After visiting Qin Chu's father, she drove back to South Hill Manor. She took a hot shower, changed her clothes, and walked out. Just then, her phone rang. It was a video call from Qin Chu. Hello, Mr. Qin. In order not to make Qin Chu worry, she was always full of energy in front of him. You did a great job today. What reward do you want when we get back? Really? You'll give me anything I want. Hua Min smiled proudly. Yes. As long as I have it, as long as you want it. Qin Chu's gaze was gentle. Actually, I really want you to come back. I feel so lonely when you're not home. Even the bed feels cold. Yes, I'll be back soon. I'll warm the bed for you. You? What are you talking about? Hua Min's face turned red. I'm just warming the bed for you, honey. Are you thinking of something evil again? Qin Chu moved closer to Hua Min and looked closely at her. Hua Min looked up shyly and asked slowly, Honey, do you like the eternal light at the press conference tonight? She asked Qin Chu tentatively. She wondered what kind of surprise Mr. Qin would receive on the anniversary of their marriage. Chapter 14:12. Yeah. What does yeah mean? I'm asking you if you like it or not. Hua Min was obviously not satisfied with Qin Chu's answer. I like it. Qin Chu couldn't help but laugh. He knew that Hua Min would be very impatient, like a child who got full marks on a test and was waiting for praise. Hua Min's IQ was obvious, but in front of Qin Chu, she was like a fool. Because she relied on him and trusted him, she didn't have to do anything to him. Just like her mother and Jixin, they were all her closest family members in the world. Once, Xiao Wei took Hua Min to a psychology class. The famous psychology professor taught them a very special class. Why was it special? Because they were playing games the entire class, and they were doing subtraction problems. Hua Min had a deep memory. It was the first time she walked on stage. The professor said, Write the names of your loved ones, friends, and lovers on the blackboard. Hua Min picked up a piece of chalk and slowly wrote, Qin Chu, Yang Meirong, Jing Jixin, Zhu Lingling, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, and her favorite assistant, Chen Jia. The professor smiled and said, From now on, the Grim Reaper wants to take someone away from you. Then, you have the right to decide. Whoever you cross off will be taken away by the Grim Reaper and leave you forever. Hua Min froze slightly. Let's begin. Hua Min was conflicted. He slowly raised his head and crossed off Chen Jie's name. The Grim Reaper doesn't think it's enough and wants to take 3 more. You decide. After the professor finished speaking, Hua Min hesitated again and crossed off Gao Ran, Xiao Wei, and Zhu Lingling's names. At this moment, only Qin Chu, Jixin, and Yang Meirong were left. The professor looked at Hua Min and continued in a serious tone, The Grim Reaper is still greedy and wants to take 1 more. Hua Min remained silent. With a heavy heart, he crossed out Yang Meirong. Although she loved her mother and Jixin the same way, her mother was old while Jixin was still young. If he really wanted to take her away, it was better to cross out his mother's name first. In the end, only Qin Chu and Jixin were left. Cross out another one, the professor ordered. No, I can't. Hua Min's heart was filled with sadness. Although it was just a game, she really didn't want to continue. Only Jixin and Qin Chu were left. They were both her true love. There's only one left. Hurry up and continue, the professor snapped. Huamin trembled as he raised his head. Finally, Jixin's name was slowly crossed out beside Qin Chu's name. Finally, there was only one left. In the end, the professor looked at her with a loving gaze. The one who is left behind is the person you cherish the most, the person you are even willing to exchange your life for. Cherish her well. Life is short, and the time you can truly enjoy is not long. In the end, Huamin learned that the class was called Cherish. It was to force people to look at their own hearts and see the person most important to them clearly. Huamin already knew that in her heart, Qin Chu had already surpassed everything. Honey, did you know? Eternal Light's orders are selling like crazy today. Huamin continued to claim credit. Emichim, my wife is very good. When I go back in a few days, you should rest well and then go back to work at Southside. Don't delay your work. Qin Chu always knew that Huamin loved being a doctor, so he was considerate of her. After a moment of silence, Huamin slowly said, Honey, I've already resigned from President Wu. Why? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Because I want to help you. Dummy, didn't I tell you that you're the most important thing? We don't have to transfer the money. We've already lived a comfortable life. If you're tired, I can sell GK and become a doctor with you. Do you need a brain surgeon at your place? I'm very good at medicine. Qin Chu smiled warmly. Huamin wanted to cry. Didn't they say that in a man's eyes, business was always more important than beauty? Why would her Mr. Qin stupidly sell GK and become a doctor? Why would he have such a crazy idea? Sell what? GK is Dad's blood, sweat, and tears, Huamin corrected him. But the hospital is also your blood. Qin Chu stared at Huamin's face and said seriously. Chapter 14:13. Let's not be so modest. Even though I really like being a doctor, compared to what you're doing, I'm more willing to help you. Helping my husband with his work gives me a sense of accomplishment. Even though it's hard work, it's also fulfilling. Besides, Director Wu said that he won't approve of my resignation. He's giving me leave without pay. After I'm done with my work, I can go back whenever I want, so don't worry about me. Okay, I can't out-talk you. Qin Chu knew that Huamin had her own ideas. She wasn't someone that could be persuaded with just a few words. Has Jixin contacted you recently? Huamin asked. Lately, the kid seemed to be closer to his brother-in-law than to his sister. He went to Africa with his classmates. What? He went to Africa. Sure enough, Huamin's reaction was intense. He didn't want you to worry, that's why he didn't tell you. It won't be a problem. It's not a war-torn country, it's Tibet. There's a lot of wildlife conservation there, and it's close to nature. That little brat. Earth can't hold him anymore, Huamin jokingly scolded. After I'm done here, we'll go to New Zealand to see him, and then we'll go to the States. To California to see the sunset. Huamin rushed to answer. Yeah. Qin Chu nodded. Deal. Don't break your promise. Otherwise, I'll remind you every day and torture you to death. I won't break my promise. After the couple flirted with each other for a while, Huamin felt extremely sleepy. After saying goodbye to Qin Chu, she hung up the phone and fell asleep in less than 2 minutes. It seemed like she was really tired. Marriott Hotel in T-City, sir, when are we going back? Didn't the police eliminate us as suspects? I still have some things to take care of, Qin Chu said. Then, he walked to his computer and turned it on. 3 hours ago, Rick called and said that he found out that Jiang Linyue had deposited something in a bank in T-City. It was in a safe, but it couldn't be taken out unless the owner took it. Now that Jiang Linyue was dead, only her family could retrieve it. Her parents were both overseas and basically no one could contact them. Therefore, Qin Chu had been thinking of ways to get this thing. He always felt that it seemed to be related to the case. Otherwise, Jiang Linyue wouldn't have been so careful. The next morning Huamin woke up early and drove to GK headquarters. A young lady, good morning. A young lady, good morning. All the employees seemed to have gotten used to Huamin being in the company and had already regarded her as the leader of the company. There was nothing wrong with replacing Qin Chu. During the morning meeting, Huamin gave out a bonus to the design department. Then, he made arrangements for the distribution of the jewelry. He had just returned to his office after the morning meeting. She saw Chen Jia standing in front of her office. Little Jia, why are you here? Director. I. Come in and talk. Seeing that Chen Jia was about to cry, Huamin pushed open the door and let her in. Director, I also want to resign. After you leave, I don't want to work at South Side anymore. Can you find me a job at GK? I want to continue being your assistant. After you leave, I don't want to work at South Side anymore. Chen Jia loved Huamin very much. She originally thought that Huamin was only taking a temporary leave of absence. Then, she heard from the hospital that Dr. Huo was on leave without pay and that he would never be able to return. Chen Jia suddenly panicked. After struggling for an entire night, she made this bold decision. Chapter 14:14. Ha. Jia, you used to be a nurse, will you be able to get used to working at the company? I don't know how to do it, but I can learn. Anyways, I want to work for you. Chen Jia looked like she was wronged. Boss had left, but he had actually left her in the hospital. Her heart was cold. Jia, I didn't resign. The director gave me a leave of absence, so I might go back to work. But the hospital said you won't be going back, and I don't think you'll be going back anytime soon. Chen Jia said quietly. You want to come to GK because you want to see Ni Yang more, right? Huamin teased her. Chen Jia's face immediately turned red. Chief, what are you talking about? Ha, okay, I'll stop teasing you. Jia, how about this, if you really want to come, you can be Ni Yang's assistant for now. Don't be my assistant, there are too many things to do at the company, and you won't be able to learn everything in a short period of time. You can go to GK Entertainment and stay with Ni Yang. Chen Jia was pleasantly surprised. She didn't think that Huamin would agree so easily. Before Chen Jia could speak, Huamin continued, you'll be paid the same as an assistant at GK Entertainment, and you'll get all the benefits. Although you're officially working at Southside, we still have insurance and housing, so the benefits are no less than what you get at the hospital. But, if President Wu finds out that not only did I leave, but I also took you with me, will he kill me? No, President Wu loves you the most, Chief. Chen Jia smiled brightly. Little girl, go, I'll call GK Entertainment right now. You go report to GK. Okay, thank you, Chief. Oh, no, thank you, President Hua. Chen Jia was overjoyed as she ran out of the office. Huamin had a headache, so he took out the cold medicine from his bag and took 2 pills. She had been exhausted recently, and it was about time for her to get an injection. However, she didn't have time, so she could only take the medicine. Only Bella knew that even she felt bad for a young lady. She heard a ding from her WeChat. She casually opened it and saw a voice message from Zhu Lingling. I'm flying back to Sea City this afternoon. Come and pick me up. I want to eat roasted pig trotters. Don't you think I look like a pig trotter? Huamin replied. You do, but the taste is a little off. You don't smell as good as pork trotters. Fuck you, idiot. It was only when he quarreled with Zhu Lingling that Huamin felt that he was still young. What time will you arrive in the afternoon? I'll pick you up. You don't have to lend it to me. My family's police will pick me up. Just find a good hotel and wait for me. Tycoon, remember to bring more. You'll pay the bill. Well, you take me, and I'll take the money. Huamin smiled. Just then, Bella knocked on the door and entered. A young lady. Did you watch the live broadcast? What live broadcast? Huamin was slightly surprised. Why don't you turn on the TV? I think your cousin went on a reality show and complained about you. Bella stuttered. Huamin had a bad feeling about this. Cousin. Was it Yang Xiaoping? Bella took out the remote control and handed it to Huamin. She turned on the TV and tuned to a local satellite channel. It was a live broadcast of a reality show called Young Girls in Their Prime. Yang Xiaoping looked completely different from before. Not only did she look fashionable, but she also seemed to have undergone some minor plastic surgery. The traces of hyaluronic acid were obvious. My cousin Huamin. How should I put it? She's not as nice as she looks. Everyone has a dark side. When I was living at my aunt's house, she accused me of stealing money and kicked me out. I didn't tell my aunt about this. After all, she's old, and I don't want to give her a hard time. My cousin Huamin is. Upon seeing this, Huamin was very unhappy. Cousin. Live broadcast. Reality show. Complaints. How interesting. Chapter 14-15. Bella watched TV as she observed a young lady's expression. A young lady, do you want to call the TV station and complain? No need. But it's not good for you to say things like that. It's okay, let her say what she wants. Yang Xiaoping's comments on the reality show became the hottest topic of the day. She even went as far as to create a Weibo account. There were even some fans who liked to say that she was real and had a straightforward personality. In the afternoon, a well-known media outlet interviewed Huamin exclusively. After the video of the interview was released, it became the front page of all the major media outlets. The title of the article was Cousin. Huamin says he doesn't know her well. In the video, Huamin's attitude was calm. He wasn't angry or annoyed at all. His aura was firm and steady. Mrs. Qin is Yang Xiaoping, who appeared on the reality show, your cousin. Yes, she's my mother's brother's daughter. Then why haven't you guys been seeing each other often? She's so close to you, but she's not as close as you are to Ni Yang, an outsider. Because we used to be very poor. When I was young, my mother had a hard time raising my brother and I. My uncle's family probably hated us for not living up to his expectations, so he never hung out with my mother. That's why this is the first time I've met my cousin. She said you framed her for stealing, is that true or? The host asked. The jewelry store must have a video of her stealing the jewelry and selling it. I don't think you can frame her for something like that, unless you really did it, then according to her, you chased her out. It's true. My mother always gave her money and provided her with food and shelter. She even took my mother's jewelry and sold it. I don't think it's a matter of forgiveness, it's a matter of character. We wouldn't let a person with bad character live in our family, regardless of whether she's a relative or a friend. Does your mother know about this? She didn't know at first, but now that she's on the reality show, I'm sure my mother knows about it. Do you have any advice regarding this matter? No, I don't want to cause trouble, but I'm not afraid of trouble either. I don't think Yang Xiaoping is that scheming. I'm afraid she was used by someone. your company's legal team is very strong. Will you issue a lawyer's letter? No, I won't make things difficult for my mother. After all, I'm her niece. I won't go to court. Some netizens say that this woman is trying to gain popularity and gain attention. What do you think? I don't have any opinions. I don't have any opinions about those people and things that I don't care about. They all say that Mrs. Chin is very generous, and I've seen it for myself today. Thank you for accepting our exclusive interview, and I wish you a happy life. Thank you. Finally, can you tell us how the pre-sales of Eternal Light are going? The host asked with a smile. Very good, the first batch is already in production. I hope Eternal Light sells well. Thank you. Huamin thanked him again and walked off the stage. She didn't say much about Yang Xiuping. After all, they weren't on the same level, so there was no need to take it to heart. She also didn't need to use her top legal team to deal with Yang Xiuping. She didn't have the right to do so. After Huamin's interview was released, some enthusiastic netizens began to speculate about who was telling the truth between Yang Xiuping and Huamin. One said she didn't steal anything and was wrongly accused. The other said she stole something and sold it. Therefore, some curious netizens began to investigate all the major jewelry stores. That night, a jewelry store employee anonymously posted a screenshot of Yang Xiuping's surveillance camera, which showed that she had indeed been to the jewelry store and sold a large amount of gold jewelry. As soon as the evidence was posted, Yang Xiuping's Weibo was immediately attacked. Some people even wanted to hunt her down. Because of this, Huamin and Yang Xiuping both became one of the hottest topics on Weibo. Chapter 14-16. Huamin's new products were also hyped up, and their sales skyrocketed. Yang Xiuping didn't seem to be convinced, so she posted on Weibo that night. I like to kick people when they're down, what can you guys do about it? Come on, all you haters are welcome to attack me. GK was currently plagued by negative news, so it was indeed a bad idea to smear Huamian's reputation at a time like this. Yang Xiuping originally wanted to smear Huamin's reputation, but she failed and was slapped in the face. In the end, she decided to do whatever she could to become famous. Tens of thousands of netizens left comments on her Weibo, cursing her and tagging Huamin. Yang Xiuping, you bitch. I think your name is Yang Xiuping, how dare you call yourself Mian's cousin? Shameless. Slut Yang, seeing that you're courting death, I mourn for you in advance. I finally understand why Mrs. Chin didn't even bother to sue you for defamation. It's because you don't deserve it, bitch Yang, you're shamelessly trying to ride on Huamin's coattails to become famous. You're a fighter among bitches. I heard your whole family is snobbish. When Huamin didn't have money, you all hid far away. Now you're trying to claim his cousin, aren't you ashamed? No matter how much plastic surgery you do, you won't be able to hide your country bumpkin face. You're still trying to go against Huamin. How stupid are you? With Huamin's IQ, even if you dug him out and put him on a scale, he'd still be 2 pounds heavier than you. Stupid bitch Yang Xiuping. Yang Xiuping wasn't angry at all when tens of thousands of netizens scolded her. Instead, she felt proud. Just then, Song Yishuan called her. What's wrong with you? Didn't you say that she accused you of stealing money? How come you're the one who stole money now? Song Yishuan frowned and cursed. When she first contacted Yang Xiuping, she pretended to be friends with her and gave her gifts so that she could use them one day. Yang Xiuping finally found a team to work with, so she and Song Yishuan began to smear Huamin. She even said that Huamin accused her of stealing, but Song Yishuan actually believed her. Who would have thought that he had been tricked by this village girl? Song Yishuan was the one who pulled strings to get her on the reality show. She didn't expect to be slapped in the face so soon. Song Yishuan was furious. "Ah, my cousin is a scheming person. She probably hired a water army or something to clear her name, right? Forget it, I don't care. Anyway, don't say that you know me, no matter what kind of media you accept. Xian, what about the 200,000 you promised me? I'll give it to you tonight. Let's meet tonight. I'll give you cash." Song Yishuan was very cautious. She was afraid that the bank might have records of the transaction, and she would be in trouble if they found out about it. After all, Huamin was such a meticulous person. "All right, see you tonight." Yang Xiuping was quite pleased with herself. After all, she could live such a carefree life with her black cousin. Sky Blessing Court Huamin was busy the whole day, so he went to see his mother that night. His mother called him to ask about what had happened. "Mom, I'm off work." "Mian, what's going on? Why did Xiuping say that on TV?" "Ah, don't worry, we'll talk about it slowly." Huamin placed his bag on the sofa and sat down with his mother. "Ah, I saw it on TV. I really don't know what's going on with Xiuping. Why did she say that? It's bad for you guys. Plus, didn't she go out to work? Why is she on TV?" "Mom, Xiuping was the one who took your jewelry when you lost it last time." "Huh?" Yang Meirong was slightly surprised. Chapter 14-17. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to get mad. After all, she's your niece. I easily found the transaction records at the jewelry store. I exposed her and she was scared, so she tried to get it back. Then, I kicked her out, no wonder. I was wondering why she suddenly left. Yang Meirong finally understood, that kid. I was so nice to her. Yang Meirong was a little sad. "Mom, not all sincerity can be exchanged for sincerity. Seriously, I even asked her to give your uncle a lot of things and money during Chinese New Year. I can't believe she still tried to defame you after everything I did. She's so heartless." "It's fine, I don't mind. I went on an exclusive interview today and explained everything. I also promoted my company's new product, so it won't affect anything. But, Mom, what if Xiuping comes to you? I won't let her in." Yang Meirong seemed angry. "Emichim, Xiuping isn't that pure. I hope you won't interact with her anymore." Upon hearing his mother's words, Huamin relaxed. That night, Yang Meirong made Huamin 2 bowls of coarse grain noodles. Then, she drove home and went to her study to organize the company's documents. She finally understood why Qin Chu was so busy after work every day. The workload at GK was like an ancient emperor reviewing memorials, the documents piled up like a mountain. She dove into the documents and began to focus on her work. On the other hand, Hua Xiqian seemed to be very unhappy with Yang Xiuping. Slandering Ta Mian was absolutely intolerable. At first, he thought that Song Yisher instigated Yang Xiuping. Later, his people investigated and found out that Song Yishuan had been in contact with Yang Xiuping. "Boss, they're meeting tonight." "Oh, good, I'm going to give them a surprise." Hua Xiqian raised his index finger and kissed it. That night, after Yang Xiuping and Song Yishuan met, they left the restaurant. She was hit by a speedily modified race car. Song Yishuan broke 3 of her ribs. Yang Xiuping was in a more serious condition. Her left kneecap was fractured, and there were many abrasions all over her body. Both of them were sent to the hospital overnight for emergency treatment. By the time Huamin finished his work, it was already past 11 p.m. She had planned to have dinner with Lingling and Gao Ran today, but Yang Xiuping's incident suddenly happened. Therefore, she changed the appointment to tomorrow night. She only noticed the news on her phone when she went to bed after taking a shower. Since Song Yishuan's identity was sensitive, she had to remain anonymous. On the other hand, Yang Xiuping's car accident was widely reported. Many netizens felt very satisfied and said that this was Bitch Yang's retribution. There were also many bored netizens who directly went to Huamin's Weibo to spam. Mian Mian has been avenged. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. With Xichen private villa Song Yishu came back from visiting Song Yishuan at the hospital and did not go home. When she returned, Xichen was drinking red wine in the living room in his pajamas. Did you get someone to hit Xianxian? Song Yishu asked angrily. What? Aren't you happy? Didn't that pig-like cousin of yours almost disfigure you when she was speeding? Isn't it better if she's dead? Xichen admitted to it and didn't even bother pretending to be innocent. It was obvious how arrogant he was. Xichen, are you crazy? Song Yishu roared. Chapter 14-18. After Song Yishu found out that Song Yishuan was in a car accident, she immediately went to the hospital with her family. She originally thought that it was a hit-and-run accident. However, when Song Yishu found out that Song Yishuan and Yang Xiuping were hit together, she immediately became suspicious. At first, she even suspected that Huamin hired someone to do this. However, after thinking about it, she realized that Huamin was smart and wouldn't do something like this. After all, this was a show, and it would be bad if someone caught them red-handed. If it wasn't Huamin, and Qin Chu wasn't in town, then, the only person who could be so fast and ruthless could only be Xichen. According to Song Yishuan, the car was driving really fast and deliberately hit her. Luckily, she reacted just a little bit faster, so she only broke a few ribs. However, Yang Xiuping wasn't so lucky. Her leg was broken, and it was said that it was a comminuted fracture. The surgery was very difficult. The Song family was very powerful. In order to cover up this news, they didn't even let the media report about Song Yishuan's car accident. They even changed their name to Wang Mao in the news. This way, no one in the group would notice them. They would only notice Yang Xiuping. The more Song Yishu thought about it, the more scared she became. Therefore, she directly drove back to the mansion. As expected, Xichen was home. Xichen, are you going to treat anyone who hurts Huamin as a thorn in your side? Smart. Xichen raised his wine glass and smiled. Haha, then your love for her is so petty. Does she know that you're doing this for her? She doesn't need to know, as long as she's safe. I won't let anyone who hurts her go, including you. Xichen sneered, sending chills down Song Yishu's spine. Ever since she found out about Xichen's intentions, Song Yishu didn't have the heart to hurt Huamin. Compared to Huamin, Xichen was simply too terrifying. You've really gone mad. If she knew how perverted you are, she would probably hate you even more. She'll fall in love with me one day. You should pray for me that I can defeat Qin Chu, because that's the only way you'll have a chance to be with Qin Chu. I'm not as despicable as you. Although my methods aren't honorable, I won't joke around with people's lives, do you know that? If Xian dies today, my uncle will not let you off. Song Yishu didn't have a good relationship with Song Yishuan. However, her uncle only had one daughter. If she was really killed, the Song family would definitely not let the matter rest. To her surprise, Xichen slowly placed his wine glass on the table. Then, he narrowed his eyes and smiled at Song Yishu. Who is your uncle? I don't even care about your father, so why would I care about your uncle? Do you really think that the Song family is so great? What a joke. Song Yishu was so angry that her face turned pale, but she didn't dare to respond. She didn't think that angering a psychopath like Xichen was a rational thing to do. Oh, right, you can record it and hand it over to the police. Song Yisher froze, but you have to make sure that you'll be able to get there alive. After speaking, Hua Xichen smiled evilly and turned around to go upstairs. Song Yisher was so scared that her face was drained of all color. This was a direct threat. Hua Xichen was truly a cold-blooded demon. Like Huamin, Song Yisher had long suspected that Jiang Linyue's death in T-City had something to do with Hua Xichen. However, she didn't have any evidence, so she didn't dare to investigate further. By now, the fact that Hua Xichen hired someone to run over Song Yishuan and Yang Xiuping was an open secret. Just how confident was he that he could control everything, that he could turn the world upside down? He didn't even care about her uncle and dad. Then, how could Qin Chu face Hua Xichen, a psychopath who treated human lives like dirt? Would he still have a chance of winning? Song Yisher suddenly felt worried about Qin Chu. She was truly worried, not like the fake love she had in the past. 12:30 p.m. Huamin had just fallen asleep when he received a call from his mother. Mian Xiuping was in a car accident. Emichim, your uncle just called me and asked me to pay for her surgery. Yang Meirong seemed conflicted. Chapter 14:19. Oh. Huamin couldn't tell if Huamin was in a good mood or not. I was wondering, what do you think? The money is yours, you can decide. I won't spend a single cent on her surgery. Huamin didn't think she was that kind of Mother Teresa. She had just been slandered, and now she had to pay for her surgery. Money didn't grow on trees. Perhaps she could tell that Huamin was a little upset. Yang Meirong continued, your uncle said that Xiuping's leg is broken, and it's very serious. Her kneecap is also crushed, and the surgery will be very difficult. The surgery will cost about 300,000 yuan, but I don't have that much money, so I can't take it. After all, we're relatives, so I think we should pay her 30,000 yuan first. I don't care about the rest. It's up to you. Mian, are you mad at Mom? No. Actually, I think we're repaying evil with good. We're doing this for ourselves. Okay, go to bed early, I just wanted to let you know. Okay. Huamin wouldn't give Yang Xiuping a single cent, but she didn't have the right to stop her mother. After all, blood was thicker than water, and her mother was a soft-hearted person. If her uncle called in the middle of the night, he would definitely cry and throw a tantrum. It was normal for her mother to give him 30 or 20,000 yuan. She didn't have to be angry. The next morning, Huamin received a call from Yang as soon as he arrived at the company. A young lady, what's wrong? The president, he. Yang Meirong stuttered. Yang stuttered, scaring Huamian to the core. What's wrong with Qin Chu? The president's in a bad mood, he didn't eat breakfast. Upon hearing this, Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. You scared me to death. You're halfway through your sentence. No, the problem is that the president didn't want you to worry, so he didn't tell you about all this mess. The truth is, Jiang Linyue has a new lead. The president found out that Jiang Linyue left an important item in the bank before she died. He finally found someone to get it out, but, on the way here, there was a car accident. The person died on the spot, and the item disappeared. What? Huamin's heart sank, it was actually another car accident. It was really not peaceful recently. Huamin finally understood, no wonder Qin Chu was still in T-City. It turned out that Jiang Linyue had found another clue. Unfortunately, when he was about to get the item, something happened. This matter was really strange. No wonder Qin Chu was in a bad mood. Then, is Qin Chu alright? It's nothing. The boss is just in a bad mood. He hasn't been talking or eating. Okay, I got it. After hanging up, Huamin opened WeChat and sent Qin Chu a red pocket. The amount was 5 20. However, the red pocket said, "Honey, be happy every day." Chin Chu immediately replied with a smiley face. Then, he transferred 5,200 yuan to Huamin. Huamin sent him a voice message, "Honey, you lost money. I sent you 520, and you sent me 5,200. After doing the math, you still lost 51.94. 8 yuan. Honey, you're really good at math." Huamin, what did you have for breakfast? Chin Chu, kanji. Huamin, lying children's noses grow longer. Chin Chu, Huamin, be a good boy and eat, or else I won't like you anymore. Chin Chu, then who do you like? Huamin, I like Su Yu. He's good-looking and rich. Most importantly, he eats breakfast obediently every morning. Chin Chu, Huamian, fly over here right now. I'll show you the color of my belt. Huamin, ha ha ha, I won't go. The husband and wife were bickering, and someone was suddenly implicated. Imperial Star Headquarters, achoo, achoo. Su Yu sneezed twice in a row. President Su, the morning meeting is in 15 minutes. Do you want to eat breakfast first? Assistant and asked tentatively. Chapter 14:20. I don't want it. Su Yu refused without hesitation. Just now, someone praised him for eating his breakfast obediently. It seemed like Lord Su wasn't worthy of compliments at all. At the Hua Corporation, boss, I got it. Did that person see it? Hua Xiqian asked lazily. We're not sure if that person saw the information inside or not, but logically speaking, he shouldn't have. After all, he's just Chin Chu's errand boy, he shouldn't be that bold. Where's that person now? He's dead. Okay, you can leave now. Yes, sir. After his subordinate left, Hua Xiqian picked up the craft paper bag. He didn't think that bitch Jiang Linyue would have a backup plan. She was already dead, but she still caused so much trouble. It really pissed him off. If he didn't think this through, the item would probably be in Chin Chu's hands right now. It was better to avoid unnecessary trouble. Hua Xiqian slowly opened the craft paper bag. It was wrapped in layers and layers. It was obvious that Jiang Linyue was very careful. As expected, inside was a letter from Jiang Linyue, as well as a USB drive. It contained audio recordings of her conversations with Hua Xiqian. Jiang Linyue also said in the letter that if news of her death got out, this paper bag would automatically be mailed out a month later. It seemed like Chin Chu acted quickly. It only took him a few days to find the location of this item. If Chin Chu couldn't find it, then the item would still be mailed out a month after Jiang Linyue's death. But where would it be mailed to? The address and recipient surprised Hua Xiqian. Southside Recuperation Center, Neurology Department, Huamin. He didn't think that at the last moment, the person that Jiang Linyue trusted the most was Huamin. This is truly ironic. Hua Xiqian smiled as he picked up a lighter and slowly lit the paper bag on fire. The information inside instantly turned into ashes. Ha, you bitch, you're dead and you're still causing trouble. Don't worry, my little sister Mian will never have the chance to see your letters. Huamin went to work on time in the morning. After a busy morning, he finally had some free time. She sat in her office and quietly looked out the window. To be honest, she missed her time at Southside. Although being a doctor was tiring, it was her favorite job. If he was in the hospital, he should have finished treating many patients by now, right? Should I go to the hospital's cafeteria with Xiao Jie? Ding! She received a WeChat message. Comrade Huamin, are you going to treat me or not? We haven't had breakfast yet. Ha ha ha, please. The two of you can come now. There's a very good restaurant downstairs called Bamboo Garden of Sanyu. Okay, wait for us. We'll be there in 20 minutes. Zhu Lingling had a stomach full of complaints. She had not seen Huamin for many days. She had finally flown back from overseas and wanted to get together with him, but this guy had been busy all the time. 20 minutes later, at the restaurant downstairs, Huamin saw Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran. The two of them were so lovey-dovey that they even had to hold hands while walking. Ahem, can you be more careful with your image in public? Huamin coughed on purpose. To his surprise, Zhu Lingling immediately rolled her eyes at him. How dare you say that? You have no right to say that to us. Don't you remember how inhumane you and Qin Chu used to be? Huamin smiled but did not say anything. After they sat down, Zhu Lingling picked up the menu and began to order. Mr. Rich, did you bring enough money? I'm going to rip you off today. Don't worry about it. If you can't finish it, you can take it away. Huamin chuckled. Gao Ran wrapped one arm around Zhu Lingling's neck. Ling, can we not embarrass ourselves? Can't I afford to feed you? It's like I haven't eaten in hundreds of years. Yeah, you can't afford to feed me. Your monthly salary isn't even enough to buy me a Dior bag. Gao Ran, Huamin laughed as he watched the two of them bicker. He suddenly missed Qin Chu. An occasion like this would only be complete if Mr. Qin was there. Gao Ran turned around and asked, Qin Chu isn't back yet. Chapter 1421. Huamin shook his head. Isn't he done with T-City? I sent him a WeChat message the day before yesterday and told him that the compensation was done. Gao Ran was a bit puzzled. There are still some other things to take care of, but I think he'll be back soon. Emichim, let's meet up when he gets back. Okay. They were happily eating dinner, but halfway through, Huamin received a call from Bella. Then, he stood up apologetically and said, You guys take your time, I have to go back to the company. You're leaving just like that? Zhu Lingling didn't want him to leave. When Qin Chu gets back, I'll be free. Then, I'll accompany you to eat, drink, and have fun. Okay, let's go. Remember to pay the bill. Huamin chuckled. After paying the bill, he went straight back to the company. After Huamin left, Zhu Lingling felt a bit down. Why aren't you eating? Gao Ran noticed that something was wrong. I think Mian is too tired. She clearly doesn't like managing the company, but she still wants to do it. She even resigned from South Side. Seriously, my heart aches when I see her like this. I know all too well what she likes and dislikes over the years, but she did this. It's all for Qin Chu, Gao Ran continued. Zhu Lingling nodded. So, if I hear anyone say that Mian doesn't love Qin Chu more, I'm going to fucking kill them. Zhu Lingling was so angry that she cursed. Don't take the words of the bystanders seriously, they're just here to watch the show. Only friends like us know the real situation. Qin Chu and Huamin don't love each other more, nor do they love each other more deeply. I can only say that they both view each other as the most important people in their lives. Yes, that's right. Zhu Lingling nodded in agreement. Lingling, you too. What do you mean, me too? Zhu Lingling was slightly stunned. To me, you are the most important person in my life. Although I'm not as rich as Qin Chu, my love for you is no less than his love for Huamin. Gao Ran was a clumsy person. Because he worked in the city bureau, he had a bad temper. Zhu Lingling was already used to it. She liked to bicker and choke people. But occasionally hearing such emotional words from his mouth really warmed her heart. Zhu Lingling said shyly, Although I'm not as smart as Mian, I'm not a coward. If you need me, I can give up my job for you. I'm willing to risk my life to be your spy. Undercover. Forget it. I'm afraid I won't be able to sit with my weight and will sink to the bottom. Gao, Rand, this couple started quarreling as they loved each other, but as they quarreled, they got back together. This was how they got along. By the time Huamin returned to the company, it was already 2:30 in the afternoon. Seeing that the company wasn't particularly busy, she drove to the first hospital. Qin Chu's father's condition was more serious this time. He was hospitalized for more than a week and still hadn't been discharged. When Huamian arrived at the hospital, she talked to the attending doctor first to get a better understanding of the situation before entering the ward. Dad, Mian, you're here. Qin Yumin put down the book in his hand. Where's my mom? She went home to change clothes. Why are you here? Are you busy at the company? Not now. Dad, how are you feeling today? Huamin sat down and poured Qin Yumin a glass of water. Pretty good. When can I be discharged? There's no rush. Stay for a while. Huamin chuckled. Qin Yumin reached out to touch the rims of his reading glasses and asked in a serious tone, Mian, tell me the truth. Did I find out about some other illness? Chapter 1422. No. Huamin smiled. You, don't lie to me. If I'm really fine, Dr. Liu wouldn't refuse me every time I asked to be discharged. Qin Yumin was actually a wise old man. Huamin didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. I'm different from your mom, I'm not as gullible as she is. If my blood pressure was just too high, I would have taken injections and medicine every day and it would have gone down a long time ago. Why can't I be discharged? So, don't lie to me. If you're really sick, let me know. Dad, Mian, although I'm your senior and you're my junior, I still respect you because you're an excellent doctor. Don't hide it from me. Qin Yumin was very clear with his words, and Huamin didn't want to continue hiding it from him. Dad, there's a black shadow in the center of your head. Black shadow. Qin Yumin was slightly surprised. Huamin nodded. I could tell from the CT scan, but it's not very big, so I'm not sure what it is yet. Could it be a brain tumor? I'm not sure yet, we'll have to wait for further pathological analysis, because the location of the tumor is too sensitive. You might not know this, but the center of the brain is the most important area. It directly affects the sensory function of the central nervous system and is also the most important cortical reflex area. If something grows in that area and presses on the nerves, it will cause seizures and aphasia. In serious cases, it will cause convulsions and paralysis. Huamin spoke very slowly, word by word. Qin Yumin's expression became more and more complicated. Seeing his father-in-law's serious expression, Huamin comforted him. Dad, don't think too much. It could be that your blood pressure was too high and caused a rupture in your brain, causing a blood clot. Anyway, the results aren't out yet, so you have to be positive. Don't give yourself too much pressure. Patients shouldn't overthink things. I'm fine, Mian. The truth is, I'm old and I'm not in good health. I'm prepared for this. Don't tell Qin Chu and your mom about this yet. I don't want them to worry. Well, you have to cooperate well and continue to stay in the hospital for observation for a while, okay? Yes. Qin Yumin nodded solemnly. After sitting in the hospital for a while, Huamin returned to the company. Along the way, she began to feel uneasy. She had some reservations about her father-in-law's condition and did not tell him everything. Dr. Liu had already made it very clear that the black shadow in the brain was a brain tumor, but he did not know whether it was malignant or not. It wasn't a blood clot at all. The last time he was hospitalized, there was no such thing. Now, it had grown to the size of a soybean. If it was a brain tumor, regardless of whether it was benign or malignant, it would require a craniotomy. That was a very difficult surgery because that thing would grow very quickly. Once it grew too big, it would directly press on the cranial nerves. Huamin's heart was heavy. She really didn't know how to tell Chin-Chu. He had been troubled enough recently, plus, if her father-in-law's condition didn't look good, his life would be in danger, but right now, she had no news at all. If her father-in-law passed away without seeing his grandchildren, Huamin felt like she would be the sinner of the Qin family for all eternity. The more she thought about it, the more depressed she felt. Huamin's face was gloomy the entire way back. When she returned to the company, Huamin once again threw herself into work. Since Chin-Chu wasn't home, she was bored at home, so she decided to work overtime at the company. After being so busy, by the time she came back to her senses, she looked at her watch and saw that it was almost 11 o'clock at night. Huamin yawned tiredly. She turned off the lights and walked out of the office. However, she suddenly realized that the elevator had stopped working. Oh my God, there were more than 30 floors. Did she have to walk down? She frantically pressed the elevator button a few times, but there was no response. Huamin braced herself and found the stairs. Just as she was about to walk down, the sensor light in the staircase was turned off. Huamin held the flashlight on her phone, and carefully walked down. When she reached the 29th floor, suddenly, she heard the sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. It was very heavy and very strange. At this time, all the employees were off work. Who would take the stairs up? At this thought, Huamin's hair stood on end. She instinctively turned around and ran upstairs. Chapter 14:23. As Huamin ran, she vaguely heard the footsteps behind her quicken. She panicked even more. She had never stayed at GK until this late, so she wasn't familiar with most of the switches. She could only remember the layout of the top floor, but it was so late, and the elevator was broken. Who could go up to the top 30 floors? Security. No, GK's security guards patrolled in pairs to prevent accidents. Could it be that Mr. Qin was back? The top floor only had the president's office, conference room, lounge area, and VIP lounge. Normal employees couldn't go to these places. Could it be that Chin-Chu was back in the middle of the night? But the problem was that Chin-Chu didn't call in advance, so he didn't know she was working overtime. Could it be that he asked Bella? Huamin had a lot of questions as she ran. She suddenly had a bold idea. She wanted to stop and see who this person was. What if it was a suspect who came in to steal something? That way, she could see what he looked like and file a case tomorrow. With this thought, Huamin slowed down and stopped running. She forced herself to turn around and see who it was. From the sound of the footsteps, it was probably one person, because if there were two people, their footsteps would be messy. If the suspect was alone, Huamin might not be afraid. If the person had a chest weapon, then it wouldn't be too late to run. Also, Chin-Chu had a stun baton in his office drawer. It wouldn't be a problem to use it for self-defense. Huamin stopped at the edge of the hallway. Next to her was the conference room, and further in was the president's office. Just then, the footsteps got closer and closer. She started to feel uneasy, and even her breathing became rapid. The voice-activated lights in the hallway suddenly stopped working. Huamin ran for so long, but the lights didn't turn on. Luckily, they were in the central district. Even though it was dark, there were still neon lights from the street and the lights from the building next door. Huamin held the high-beam flashlight on his phone tightly in his hand. When the person turned around and reached the end of the corridor, Huamin saw a figure. It was a tall man. The two of them stood at the end of the corridor. There was a distance of about 18 meters between them. Because it was too dark, the man walked over and approached Huamin. She suddenly raised the flashlight in her hand and shone it. She almost screamed in fright. It was Hua Xiqian's face. But it was different from usual. How was it different? Usually, Hua Xiqian was all smiles. When he saw Huamin, his expression was very relaxed. However, the Hua Xiqian in front of him had a ferocious look in his eyes. It seemed to be a wolf that was about to catch its prey. The look in his eyes made Huamian's hair stand on end. She wasn't even sure if this person was Hua Xiqian, or if he looked like Hua Xiqian. She had a feeling that if Hua Xiqian caught her, then it would be over. At this thought, she immediately reacted and ran. Hua Xiqian's footsteps also became faster. In this quiet night, he was able to quietly cut off GK's security system and countless cameras on the screen. He turned off the voice-activated lights and elevators, just to surround Huamin. Was it easy for him? Huamin was panting as he ran in front of Hua Xiqian. He felt like his heart was going to jump out of his chest. Hua Xiqian, on the other hand, was chasing him more and more intensely. There was an evil smile on his face. Mian, tonight, let's play cat and mouse, okay? If I catch you, then. Hua Xiqian licked his lips. He couldn't wait any longer. After Huamin ran out of the corridor, he had nowhere to go. If he wanted to go downstairs, he could only take the stairs. However, that was the direction Hua Xiqian was at. The elevator malfunctioned. In the end, she gritted her teeth and entered the president's office. She knew that once she entered the room, it meant that she was at the end of her rope. Once the person behind her caught up, it would be a head-on confrontation. Chapter 1424. Seeing Huamin enter the president's office, Hua Xiqian smiled triumphantly. He knew that once Huamin entered one of the rooms, he would be like a turtle in a jar. It would be impossible for him to get out. He walked to the door of the president's office and looked at the half-closed door. After hesitating for a moment, he reached out and pushed the door open. A folder fell from above, but it didn't hit him. This was a trick that middle school students used to prank their teachers or other classmates. Usually, they would put a blackboard eraser on top of it. He didn't expect Huamin to use such a childish trick. Not to mention that he wasn't hit. Even if he was, what could he do? It was just a folder, it couldn't hurt him at all. His Mian was so adorable. Huamin pushed the door open proudly and walked in. It was as if he could see the dawn of victory. It was as if this game of cat and mouse had already been decided. At this moment, Huamin was hiding under Qin Chu's desk in his office. She held the stun baton tightly in her hand. She knew that if Hua Xiqian went crazy, she wouldn't be a match for him. She was only 160 centimeters tall, while Hua Xiqian was 180 centimeters tall. They were 20 centimeters apart, and Hua Xiqian was definitely very strong. She had never been so scared before. She was really scared, not for anything else, but for Hua Xiqian's beast-like gaze tonight. She felt that if she was caught tonight, she would be prey and would be at the mercy of others. Huamin listened to Hua Xiqian's footsteps, then closed his eyes and prayed silently. Hua Xiqian might have been too proud and underestimated Huamin. He was so focused on the mechanism on the door that he forgot about his feet. When his feet were pricked by something, he realized that there was something underneath. He stopped, lowered his head, and took out a medium-sized rivet from the bottom of his leather shoe. However, it pierced through the bottom of his shoe and hurt his feet. Because he put all his weight on his feet when he lifted his feet, he didn't pay attention and stepped on it subconsciously. At this moment, he finally understood that the little mechanism on his head was to distract him. The real mechanism was here. He felt a slight tingling pain on his feet, but that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that his left foot that stepped on the rivet began to numb. He suddenly realized that Huamin must have done something to the rivet. Hua Xiqian wanted to eat her tonight, but he was tricked by the little girl. He sighed slightly and didn't walk in. He knew how strong the anesthetic Huamian made herself was. When he was Huamian mean, he was talking, President, and President was to Huamin's. it means Huamin, SSSS, Huaminses. During experiments, a small dose was enough to knock out 5 adult white mice. Hua Xichen felt that if he continued to confront Huamin, his movements would be slow and he would be the one at a disadvantage. Therefore, Hua Xichen reluctantly pulled out the rivet on his foot and quickly turned to leave. Huamin finally opened her eyes when she heard Huamin's footsteps getting further and further away. Her heart was beating very fast, and she was gasping for breath. Did he really go far away? Did he deliberately set up a smoke bomb to lure her in? She couldn't believe it. After waiting for 10 minutes and seeing that there was no movement, she immediately took out her phone and sent a WeChat message to An Yang. Come to the office and pick me up. The elevator is broken. Take the stairs. An Yang had just finished listening to the demo of his new album and hadn't gone to bed yet. When he received Huamin's WeChat message, he didn't hesitate. He immediately drove to the company headquarters. Half an hour later, the office door was pushed open. Sister Huamin, are you in there? Chapter 1425. An Yang asked hesitantly as he looked around the dark office. Huamin crawled out from under the desk when she heard An Yang's voice. Oh my god, sis, are you playing hide-and-seek with me? An Yang was shocked when she saw Huamin crawl out from under the desk. It's a long story, I'll tell you later, Huamin said as she turned on the lights. Then, she saw the small nail that she had placed at the door. Huamin lowered her head and picked it up. There was still a bit of blood on it. Thank you for saving me. She carefully put the nail away and followed An Yang downstairs. When they went to the security room, it was just as Huamin thought. The security guard on duty didn't know what happened, but it seemed like the system had been hacked. The elevator, the security cameras, and even the voice-activated lights in the hallway were all broken. Huamin walked out with a heavy heart. She briefly told An Yang about what happened, but she didn't tell him that the person she saw was Hua Xichen. She didn't tell him about that. Oh my god, sis, you almost ran into a psycho. What if you were in danger? An Yang was scared out of his wits. I'm fine now, aren't I? Huamin smiled. How can you still smile? What if that person didn't step on your nail? What would you have done? An Yang felt scared for Huamin just thinking about it. The chances of that happening weren't high. What if that person didn't fall for it and wasn't drugged? Who knew what would happen to Huamin right now? Aren't we safe now? Plus, even though my little tricks are a little childish, they're all very useful. Huamin was very satisfied with the 2 little interlocking traps she designed at the door. This was a common psychological problem. Most people would pay attention to what's above their heads and ignore what's below their feet. After being taken away by the robbers, Huamin was very careful about her own safety. After all, she was the wife of the president of the largest financial group. It was normal for her to be targeted by criminals. Therefore, Huamin carried the super anesthetic she had developed with her on a silver needle. When she wore a white lab coat, the silver needle was in her chest pocket. When she wore casual clothes, she would hide it in her high heels. She added a small screw to the base of the silver needle and turned it into a rivet, which became her life-saving straw. It was originally meant to be used in case of an emergency, but who would have thought that it would come in handy tonight? If the person tonight wasn't Huamin, but some other woman, she would have been slaughtered. But why did Hua Xichen suddenly appear? How did he know she was on duty tonight? Was it premeditated or was it a coincidence? Huamin had so many questions in her mind. She originally wanted to call the police, but she was afraid that if the police came, the media would be alerted, and the company's reputation would be affected. She also couldn't ask Su Yu and the others to pick her up. Rumors would spread like wildfire. Jixin wasn't home, so only her little brother, An Yang, came to pick her up. Sis, you must be hungry. I'll take you to eat something first. No, I'm not hungry. You can drive me back. I'll leave my car here. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay. Hwa-Mian was scared out of her wits. She felt weak all over, and Young drove Hwa-Min back to South Hill Manor in his white Porsche Cayenne. Don't tell anyone about what happened tonight. I don't want people to know. I know, sis. Okay, you should go back and rest. You have work tomorrow. Sis, are you okay? You don't look well. Do you want to go to the hospital? Young was a little worried. No, I'm fine. You should go. Drive slowly. Okay. After Young left, Hwa-Min tiredly went upstairs, a young lady. Uncle Lee heard her voice and walked out. His sudden shout startled Hwa-Min. A young lady, do you want me to prepare a midnight snack? No. Hwa-Min walked into her bedroom on the second floor with a pale face. She didn't even want to take a shower as soon as she walked in. She crawled into bed and covered her head with the blanket, then, he fell into a deep sleep. At 3 a.m, a familiar figure pushed open the door and walked in. He carefully lifted the blanket and gently kissed her. Help, let go of me, let go of me. Hwa-Min reacted so strongly that she almost jumped up. Chapter 14:26. Mian, it's me. Chin-Chu shook her shoulders, trying to wake her up. Upon hearing his voice, Hwa-Min seemed to wake up a lot. She froze for a second and then stared at Chin-Chu's face. Chin-Chu. She still didn't seem to be sure. Mian, what happened? Chin-Chu frowned slightly, feeling that Hwa-Min's reaction wasn't right. Honey. I missed you so much, sob. Then, Hwa-Min pounced on Chin-Chu and tightly hugged his neck. She actually began to cry like a little girl who had been wronged for a long time. Chin-Chu gently patted her back. Don't cry, I'm sorry I just came back and made you worry. After everything in T-City was settled, Chin-Chu completely closed down the branch company in T-City. It was officially no longer in operation. He was very unhappy that he didn't find the crucial evidence in Jiang Linyue's case. However, at the same time, he also discovered that Hua Xiqian's power in T-City was far more complicated than he thought. Chin-Chu didn't want to keep going outside. After all, this was his main business. After thinking about it, he decided to close down the branch company first, in case Hua Xiqian continued to do things. However, he didn't expect that after such a long delay, Hwa-Min would actually cry. After hugging for a long time, Hwa-Min was finally willing to let go of Chin-Chu. Chin-Chu took out a tissue from the bedside table and gently wiped her tears. Don't cry, your eyes will be swollen tomorrow. It's okay, my eyes aren't big anyway. It doesn't matter if they're swollen or not, Hwa-Min said with a pout. Chin-Chu couldn't help but laugh. But if you go out like this, the media will write that Mr. Chin beat up Mrs. Chin last night. Domestic violence. Upon hearing this, Hwa-Min smiled through her tears. Don't cry, okay? Chin-Chu gently stroked her delicate cheek. Hwa-Min nodded. You don't even change your clothes when you sleep. Chin-Chu then saw Hwa-Min, who had gotten out of bed, wearing a black suit. Heavens, what kind of rhythm is this? Was this a side effect that Dr. Hua, who was obsessed with cleanliness, had never happened before? I'm too tired. I worked overtime too late. I don't want to change. I'm too lazy to move. I'll help you change. No. Hwa-Min's face reddened slightly. We've been married for so long, yet you're still shy. Which part of your body haven't I seen before, Chin-Chu said as he gently helped her take off her coat. Then, he skillfully unbuttoned her shirt. Finally, the cream-colored panties. Min lowered her head and didn't make a sound. She let Chin-Chu do all this. After taking off all her clothes, Chin-Chu carried her into the bathroom and started bathing her in the warm water. "Okay, I can do it myself. You can leave." After Min finished speaking, not only did she not see Chin-Chu leaving, but he also began to take off his own clothes. Hey, what are you doing? I'm taking a shower with you." "I don't want to." Min covered her face with both hands, looking extremely embarrassed. Women don't mean what they say. The more you say you don't want it, the more you want it. I know you, honey. Then, Chin-Chu walked towards the bathtub. Pervert. The water in the bathtub splashed up into waves. Inside the bathtub, the scenery was beautiful. Min could only find the only happiness and endless warmth in Chin-Chu's body. An hour later, Chin-Chu wrapped Min in a towel, carried her into the bedroom, and carefully placed her on the big bed. Then, he turned around and took out a white cotton nightgown from the closet and helped Min put it on. "Honey, are you hungry?" "You're hungry." Chin-Chu turned his head and looked at her gently. "I want to eat egg fried rice, the kind that's a little overcooked." Min pulled at the corner of the blanket with both hands and looked at Chin-Chu eagerly. "You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.